mayor of Chicago, one Mr. Johnson, has signed an executive order saying, no, you cannot come in here. I mean, lots of things to go there. The executive order is Protecting Chicago Initiative. Speaking of Chicago, by the way, 54 people shot over the weekend, 7 dead. But again, they're going to protect Chicago. Also, I'm not entirely sure why a federal judge wouldn't also come in and say this executive order is no bueno. Or I guess not good. For those of us who are still here legally, that might have made sense to you. But all of this to be said, there is a video that I want to play for you from Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, that I think is worth watching because, hey, it actually might be treasonous in a lot of ways. Here to comment on that and so much more is Alma Oheneopari, an author and conservative activist, and Grace Riley, who's the analyst for Restoration America, among other things. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks so much.
Before we get your reactions to the Chicago executive order, I want to play you a video from today. One Brandon Johnson, again, saying some things that I think a lot of people could call treason, among other things. Watch this and we'll get your reaction.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong. If this president decides to continue to break this constitution.
Yeah, that's about that. Grace, I want to start with you here. Sounds like fighting words, and you can obviously make the case that no, this is just heated political rhetoric because, you know, politicians talk like that. But remember, this is the side that says, hey, if you say fight, you obviously mean fight. So what does he mean by defend Chicago against the federal government, which is highly suspect?
Yeah, it sounds like an insurrection to me against the federal government. And beyond that, as if Chicago needs any encouragement towards violence based off of the numbers you even just said from last week. Laughably, of course, though, from this speech, that was what the Democrats would call inciting riots, right? I mean, this speech compared with this Protect Act, this Protect Chicago executive order, is laughable because, of course, his alleged purpose is to protect, so-called protect, Chicago residents from aggressive federal presences and law enforcement. But really, this executive order only ensures that crime continues in Chicago. And of course, the executive order also stigmatizes and leaves federal officials and military personnel and their families open to possible doxing and retaliation based off of what is in it. And I mean, to give you a few more examples on this rioting clip, on top of it, the first probably you missed because no one watches CNN, but the Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton went on and accused President Trump of wanting to so-called, quote unquote, manufacture a crisis by bringing law and order to Chicago. I mean, it's insane. And then best for last, so Mayor Johnson, who we just saw, also appeared on MSNBC last week, where he repeatedly refused to answer a question about if increased police presence would help. I mean, to respond to both of them, no one thinks that there isn't a crime crisis in Chicago. Residents, Democrats, or Republicans, no one except for the few Democrat leaders of Chicago who are taking this foolish, terrible, and out-of-touch stance. It's insane, and the numbers don't lie. The crime is high. They're leading the country in murder. It's absolutely insane. You stated a few numbers from last week. The week before that, there were 36 shootings, 6 were fatal. So there's no question there's a problem, and they should welcome any help that they could get. That's the problem here. Instead of writing an executive order and trying to incite riots, he should be actually working on making sure his citizens are safe, which is his primary responsibility.
Yeah, it is wild going on there. Alma, here's what I think is interesting. I said this last week when there was the news that the Trump administration was going to send immigration into Chicago. I don't know why they would be making a big deal about this, considering we've all seen the internet videos of residents of Chicago going to city council meetings and just lambasting Johnson and all of the city council, saying, hey, this illegal immigration thing is a huge problem. Alma, why is it that they aren't just kind of like saying, hey, let's just let it happen, and the Trump administration is going to take care of a problem that we don't necessarily like politically, but it helps us with our own constituents here?
The way I look at it is, it seems like when I watch that clip, what I see from it is like a gang leader who is riling up his gang to protect their territory. Yeah. That's basically what that sounds like. And the Protect Act, I think what he's missing in that title is to protect the car. So yes, I don't understand why they would not partner with the Trump administration and have them actually take care of a problem for them, which is plaguing that city, which the residents are complaining about, which is high illegal immigration. And so it's just crazy to me that they can't manufacture any sense of actual care for their own constituents enough to put aside their hatred for Trump and look at something that can potentially help their own residents. It's just amazing to me how far people can get down this hatred rabbit hole, to the point where, left is right, right is left, up is down, and down is up, to the point where they can spit in the faces of the people who are suffering all these shootings just so they can be against Trump. It's just amazing to me how that is happening.
It is. It's almost like there's a term for that, like a Trump derangement syndrome. If that hasn't caught on, I'm going to try and get that going, because I feel like that's exactly what I think you're describing. This I thought was interesting too in the whole illegal immigration topic. Grace, CBS just had this headline was just this is a disaster. I can't believe this is happening. Federal data reveals 1.2 million drop in immigrant workers under Trump. They're talking about the Census Bureau data, which if I'm going to throw a shot at the Census Bureau, the data conflates legal and illegal immigrants, but let's just assume that the majority of this is illegal here, because those are the people that are actually scared and leaving jobs. CBS reported this as like just the worst possible thing that could happen. Grace, though, I kind of see this as, oh, cool, there's 1 million jobs that are wide open for Americans to go get. This sounds awesome, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's exactly the point and what people should focus on. I mean, remember all of those people who said eliminating illegal alien workers from our workforce would destroy American industries like farming, food processing, and hospitality? Those racist people, I might add. More fear-mongering that did not end well or age well. Because as you're saying, more jobs for Americans and more order in our country. You have to follow our laws and be a legal citizen to legally work in our country. It's pretty simple. And I'm not sure why that's not computing for so many people still, CBS included.
Yeah, and Alma, the thing that I think it frustrates me the most, and it's not even necessarily the reporting around it, it's the Census Bureau conflating both legal and illegal. That is the only thing we try and do here. Hey, there's a difference. The difference matters, and if you're gonna combine the two numbers, effectively that number means nothing to me. Who's here legally, who's here illegally, and how do we separate those numbers? I don't know. What can we do to push that more and more and more to stop just saying, oh, migrants, okay, legal or illegal? Why do we have to continue asking that question?
At the end of the day, they're trying to push a certain narrative. And that narrative basically is to sow fear among people who are here legally. And the purpose for that is to continue to substantiate their claim against Trump that he is against immigration in general, right? And so this is something that is calculated for a specific purpose. And it is working. Yesterday, I posted a video talking about something Gavin Newsom said, and a lot of people came to my comments telling me that ICE was arresting citizens and legal immigrants, willy-nilly, just because they look brown, right? And so this is part of a concerted effort to maintain a narrative that appears to be collapsing. So you have to conflate these numbers so that you can create this idea that it is completely indiscriminate and it is because of racism or something like that, and not because you're trying to protect the American worker. And the part that annoys me the most are the farm owners who are saying, oh, we're not going to have people picking our crops. I'm like, why do you have to do it illegally? There is a legal process to do that. So why do you have to do it illegally? You are telling me that you need people to come here and work for slave wages just so that you can have farm workers pick our crops? I think that is the most offensive part of that entire argument, is that you need slaves basically to come and do that work.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's only possible if the libs open the border and let people come in and do the work for very low wages. Yeah, it's a ridiculous argument all the way around, and I think the baseline is, yeah, let's get all the illegals out of here and just keep the American dream for Americans as of right now. Not saying you can't come in, but there's a huge illegal problem, and I think we all see it. Alma and Grace will be back after the break to discuss, like I said, Lord Farquaad, who, that'll make sense to you if you've watched the Shrek movie and then see this new picture of Greta Thunberg, and Squad Goals, one of the Squad members cashing in big, even though she said, no, I'm not rich. Remember, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. We love seeing all of your emails, and we might even play some of the funny videos / memes that you see on the internet and send it to us on segment 4. So tpt@tpusa.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the break.
America Fest is the starting point for us to take America to greater heights in 2025. We have a team that is ready to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders, featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Point tonight, where together we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. Gotta remind you, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. We love seeing all your emails, tpt@tpusa.com. Let's check in with Turning Point's White House correspondent Monica Page at the White House, seemingly with nothing to do because obviously President Trump is bedridden. He's on the way. All of the internet sleuths that, including some mainstream media, that just miss the Biden mental collapse, somehow caught on to the fact that President Trump is doing fine, but they wanted to make it so that he wasn't doing fine. Monica, what the heck is going on here?
I wish I could tell you, Joe Bob. It seems like these internet sleuths really crack the code on President Trump's health. Mind you, we already have a full physical that was just released a couple months ago regarding President Trump's health. But these guys are seemingly convinced, because they don't see President Trump for 12 hours, that he has to be bedridden. He's in probably the worst shape of his life. He's hanging on by a thread. But people have to understand that the president, when he takes time to go golfing over the weekend, it's not just a leisurely activity. He's making deals in the process as well. He's meeting with people. He's still talking to people, making deals. He's still it's absolutely insane. Now, I will tell you, over the last 4 years, I'd say about a year and a half that I was covering personally Joe Biden's White House, there were times where we didn't get a press briefing for weeks. I think we had maybe 4 press briefings in the month of August of this time last year. Maybe saw Joe Biden a small handful of times arriving and departing off the South Lawn. We never saw fully televised cabinet meetings for 3+ hours long. We never saw multiple addresses from the Oval Office multiple times a week. It's insane. But I will say that it's very funny to see people really try and find something wrong when President Trump is clearly in great health.
Well, Monica, the reason that you didn't see President Biden is he was so diligently at work. It was the best Biden yet. He was obviously nothing going wrong there, and that's why he was just working very hard. I always thought this was really funny. Harry Sisson, first of all, many people in my conservative circle didn't know about this because it's not a real thing. And I was just watching libs lose their mind. Harry said, "Yikes, not looking good whatsoever." Some other guy said, "Recycled photos of proof of life aren't working." Like, I guess I couldn't wrap my head around how this is possibly happening on the lib side of the aisle.
Walter Reed Medical Center is all shut down. Melania Trump hasn't been seen. Like, okay, maybe they're doing construction on the roads. Hello?
It's bizarre to say the least. And also, which side talks about the other side being conspiracy theorists? I forget. Is that them who? Sorry, I just was thinking of that in real time. On to some actual important things. The president is moving the command center for the Space Force. Can you tell us about what's going on that front?
So this is actually huge news here, Joe Bob, because since its inception in 1985, the Space Command headquarters were always based in Colorado. But back in December of 2019, President Trump tried to move the space hub to Alabama because he initially started Space Force. But unfortunately, under the Biden administration, he quickly reversed that because he was convinced not to move the space hub to Alabama. But mind you, Alabama really became this missile rocket hub post-World War II. And given the fact that you've got like the Marshall Air Base, space base out there as well, it seems like the perfect idea to move something like this to Alabama. But unfortunately, President Biden was convinced not to, probably for political purposes. Many speculate. Many also speculate that Biden didn't want to move military hubs to states that were restricting abortions. So it all seems to be pretty political, the reasons why he did not move the base. But President Trump is actually making moves on this time around during his second term. It's also expected to save taxpayers a whopping $420 million, which is fantastic. And I think will really boost military readiness. God forbid we need it. So this is a huge development, huge announcement coming today. And I'm definitely excited to see, maybe some growth happening in Alabama due to this move. But nonetheless, it's very big.
Yeah, that's going to be huge to watch. And also, I think more military in a state is going to bolster the state's reasonableness. Not that we have to worry about Alabama, but it should be good going forward. Monica Page, Turning Point's White House correspondent. Thanks so much for checking in. Really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Joe Bob.
Thank you. Financial disclosures tend to be a pain for people who make a lot of money somehow while they're sitting in the U.S. Congress. People like former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whose net worth has increased by hundreds of millions of dollars while doing the public service that she does. Interestingly enough, we're tacking on a new name to that list, one Ilhan Omar, representative from Minnesota, who recently, a couple months ago, claimed, "No, I'm not a millionaire. I'm just a beleaguered Somali immigrant that happens to be in Congress." Let's bring our panel back, Grace and Alma. Guys, this is just, the irony is just too rich. It's just dripping in so much irony that I don't know if I can take it. Grace, Ilhan Omar said months ago that no, I'm not a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination, where her new financial disclosures show that she might be worth up to $30 million. Some of the specifics of that are pretty weird, to say the least. Her and her husband's net worth climbed 3,500% over the last time she had to do her financial disclosures, which is a lot. If you can find a money manager that can get you, 10 to 15%, that's pretty good. 3,500% is quite a bit up there. Grace, do I have to be a socialist to be rich in this country? Because apparently, the more I screech about socialism, the better my chances are being elected to public office, where that's where I make all the real money. What's going on here?
You know, that's how it goes, and that's what we're seeing now. And of course, this is Rich coming from someone who took to the House floor recently to decry GOP members using their actions as an elected official to benefit themselves. And of course, this is shocking. Another corrupt Marxist politician that is a complete hypocrite. And as you said, like, the details of this are even more telling. It came from her husband's winery that percentage went up that significantly. I mean, 3,500% increase is crazy. And to have that big of a net worth, I mean, it's pretty crazy that the company allegedly went from less than $1,000 in assets in 2023 to assets valued between $5 million and $25 million by the end of 2025. I'm no financial expert, but shouldn't financial growth of that magnitude in a very short period of time trigger alarm bells? But again, another hypocrite Marxist in Congress.
Yeah, I wish I had the returns that her and her husband are getting. Alma, Grace mentioned the winery. It has gone up 20 times in value, according to these financial disclosures. She also talked about her husband's capital fund that was, I think, $1,000 not too long ago and is now close to $25 million, or up to $25 million. The good news here, if there is good news, Alma, do you think the president, who has gone now after the mortgage fraud of several of the other the elites in our government, you think he'll take the opportunity and go, yeah, this does seem extremely fishy, we're going to look into it?
Yes, seriously, I was just thinking the exact same thing. I was just wondering, how is she valuing those assets? Is she about to take a loan and she's valuing the assets to get a better rate of return? I don't know. But those kinds of returns seem like completely made up. Now, I have no evidence that this is wrong, and I don't begrudge people who do well financially because I'm a capitalist. But this is seems quite interesting that you could grow in 12 months that kind of rate. It seems quite interesting to me. And if you're going to be a true socialist, why do you accept those growth numbers? Why don't you immediately liquidate those resources so that the poor people in Minnesota can have access to your wealth? So the hypocrisy is not just, growing in your wealth, but also not actually doing the thing that leftists are constantly saying the rich should do, which is to redistribute their wealth. So I'm looking for the day when she has a garage sale and gives that wealth away. I'm looking forward to that event. I think it would be really interesting.
Yeah, that is a great point. She should just sell everything and give it to all of the people, because that's what the socialist dream is. It reminds me of Senator Sanders over there, who's got 3 houses, which, dang, man, those socialists do really, really well fighting capitalism and oligarchy, or whatever the heck they're doing now. Speaking of crazy things to get involved with, this has no actual political or newsworthy significance, but it's just funny. Lord Farquaad, also known as Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, has taken on a new directive. She is going to fix the war in Gaza. A couple months ago, she set off on some boat and then got captured at sea. Just like, yeah, this is you can't do this. She's at it again. She's got humanitarian aid on what she calls a flotilla. It's just a boat. Unfortunately, Grace, though, the weather was too bad, so they had to turn the boat around. They're going to try again. My just initial analysis of this, if you can't get past the weather, I don't know if you're going to get past an Israeli blockade. But again, I don't know anything about military war zones, so maybe I'm just speaking out of my butt here. Do you think that's possible, that she's going to end the war in Gaza?
Yeah, that would be something if she alone ended the war in Gaza, of course. And she's been there before. She's tried this before, and it didn't work then. And of course, never mentioned, looking at all of this, is that Israel's working with international partners in the UN, the U.S., to help facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid. And what's also been reported over and over again is Hamas preventing their own people from getting this aid. So maybe she'd see that if she made it there. But the unfortunate thing too, I mean, climate change is her cause. So it's interesting that she's hopped on this different bandwagon. We don't know, is it for attention? Is she trying to get back in the news cycle? Because we haven't seen her for quite a while. But it'll be interesting to see what happens when she tries again. It's probably better for everyone if she stops getting in the news cycle so much, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Alma, so zoom out with me just kind of on a broader spokes to try and get some significance out of this. Why is it that libs have to try as hard as they possibly can to virtue signal? Because that's what this actually is. She's not actually going to save anybody. She's not actually going to do anything, but she wants to say, but at least I tried. Why is that so important to libs?
I think the leftist mindset is basically as follows. Because there is no substance to the things that they're fighting for in many cases, because they're not tethered to reality, they have to put on a show. It is a necessary part of the process. They have to put on a show to, get the emotions of people up. So think about it. It's almost like watching a movie and then having the person who is, editing the movie put in music for the purpose of getting your emotions up for a particular scene. And this is the music that they need to support their leftism. Because when you go into brass tacks, you realize that none of their ideas actually work. None of their proposals are actually real. And they need all these tactics for the purpose of kind of creating smoke and mirrors so you don't see the man behind the curtain. And so it is a necessary part of leftism to virtue signal. They can't live without it, because without it, seriously, the ideology shrivels up and you see it for what it is, basically naked politics. It is a power grab, and that doesn't fly. And that's why they need these tactics.
Yeah, I do like your analogy, but that sounds like a terrible soundtrack. It's just nails screeching on a chalkboard trying to invoke emotion, which my emotion is anger and just frustration with you people trying to pull the little heartstrings, faking up victimhood. Awesome, guys. Hey, Alma, Grace, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. We'll have you back.
Thanks so much.
Right. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Coming up next here on Turning Point tonight, got an awesome clip from Alex Clark's Culture Apothecary podcast. Remember, you can also email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. Love seeing all your emails. Don't go away. I'll be right back after the break.
Got to admire what you've been able to do, not to weaponize, but to organize on these college campuses.
At Turning Point USA, we've spent 13 years building the machine, and last year we saw it pay off. Our grassroots army is making a real difference. Help us keep the momentum going. Donate today and keep TPUSA strong on campuses across America.
And for a gift of any amount, you'll receive your Big Gov Sucks Cooler. Claim yours today.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
So you bringing up, okay, you noticed something, you didn't love how your husband handled a situation privately, away from the kids, away from other people. You address, hey, I don't love how you handled that situation. But what gets lost in the submission conversation is, okay, how am I submitting while also maybe holding accountable on sin? How do you call out lovingly, gracefully your husband when he does mess up?
Right.
I mean, what does that look like when you're also being submissive?
Here's one thing to keep in mind about any relationship that you have. You want like 20 times the praise and affirmation ratio to the criticism or the questioning of how a person did things. A person of any age or gender needs much, much more positive affirmation in order to build the relational capital that allows you to have an audience with them when you do need to bring that thing to them. It's the same with friends. I mean, a friend that you barely know, but you're going to go to her and bring sin to her attention. You don't have the relational capital with that person to do that. And I would say with your husband, adding in the respect element, kick that ratio up even higher. If he is hearing from you on a regular basis, I trust your judgment. I am so grateful that you're providing for our family, that you went to work today. I'm so glad that you're here with me tonight instead of somewhere else, If he's hearing that kind of thing from you, and that's what he expects to hear from you when you open your mouth, that's what he's used to out of you, you have so much capital to then also be a fellow disciple with him and bring sin to his attention when that's necessary.
Wow, that makes sense.
I would also say that if he has friends in his life, and it'd be so it's wonderful if he does have this, men who will bring things to him. Half the time, a man, his friend bringing it to him, it just works better. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, there are things that only I can see, obviously because I'm there, but it's a joke, it's a joke between us that he'll come home and say, you'll never guess what so-and-so told me today. I really should consider that. And he's joking because it's something that I told him. Yeah. 6 months ago or whatever. But it's life, and you can kick against it. You can say, I hate this. I don't want to have to I don't have to fill the bank account with 20 praises for any criticism, but it's reality. And if you want to stay married and be happy in your marriage, get with what's real. Get with the way God made the world.
How many years have you been married?
13 years.
13 years.
So we're pretty baby married.
So how did you gain all of this wisdom?
I don't know.
You just know your stuff. I was expecting you to say like 25. I mean, I don't know. That's impressive. Was it important for you guys in the dating stage to have another Christian married couple mentoring you and like walking you through things in those first years of marriage and also in dating, or?
Yeah. Well, we had our premarital counseling with our pastor and his wife. And then we have had friends that we've gone to through the years and just asked advice. Be in a church where you know people in your church and you have intimacies in your church, because those are the people who are going to tell you, go back home and apologize to your husband, or go back home and repent to your wife. And those are the people that you want in your life.
Is being fretful, quarrelsome, or nagging entirely, in your belief, a wife's fault, or do husbands typically play some sort of role?
Oh, of course they play some sort of role. Everybody sins in a marriage. Everybody sins in a marriage. So there's no counting who sinned more. He did something. I know he did, because he's a person, For a wife, that needs to stop being the point. Like, that needs to be the thing that she's ready to say, that is no longer the point for me. The point is, can I take responsibility for my side of the street? Can I keep clean? Can I keep short accounts on my sin? Do I know how to repent of my own sin?
What should true repentance look like in a marriage?
Okay, here's what it sounds like. I'm sorry for specific thing that you did or said. It was wrong. Will you forgive me? That's it. That's it. And this is something else also, in the book, the idea that you would live with somebody and never sin against them is impossible.
Right.
Have you ever tried to make a cake before? Like, you can't bake without getting flour places. It's not possible. I've never done it one time. So the way that you keep a clean counter is not by baking perfectly. It's by wiping the counter down on a regular basis. The way that you keep short accounts and keep from crusting over sin in a marriage is by repenting on a regular basis. And you should expect it. You should not say something's wrong here. Something's gone terribly wrong. We're having to repent to each other. You should say, oh, this is normal. This is like cleaning your house. It's part of being a person, is that you have to repent.
And so what happens if you're repenting to your spouse and you're saying sorry and they're saying, well, I don't believe your apology because you've already made this mistake before, or something to that effect?
That may be the feeling, even if they're not saying it, if they're more gracious and they're not saying that, like, I'm glad you're apologizing, but you'll probably do this again next week. That's not really your responsibility, is how they accept the responsibility, how they accept the apology. Also, it's not your responsibility whether they return with one for what they did, because they probably did something. You don't apologize to someone in order to get an apology back, or knowing how it's going to be handled. You apologize because it's you keeping your conscience clean before the Lord, and you keep taking care of your part. It's your part to take care of. And independent of what they do, that's still your responsibility. You stand before the Lord.
What is your opinion on silent treatment in a marriage after a fight?
I don't like it, but it's my weapon of choice because I'm not the person who accidentally speaks. So I'm the person who thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks and lines up all the wrongs to count them over the next day. So what I've actually had to learn more of is a little more what feels like confrontation to me, because it's a difficult conversation, but of going and saying, I'm sorry, and starting that conversation, but also choosing the time and the place to say, this has hurt me. That's something else. It's like, it's hard to say. It's hard to just say, you hurt my feelings, because it's vulnerable to say that. It's less vulnerable to punch back. It's hard to just say, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah. How can you overcome being a quarrelsome wife if your husband is a jerk? I mean, to put it mildly, like, I remember one episode we had listeners submit marriage questions, and she had said, I tried to start this habit of asking my husband, how can I love you best today? And he said, well, you should already know that. I don't know why you're asking me.
It's jerk.
Yeah.
Jerk way to respond. Although I would say a lot of women seem to have that kind of attitude towards their husbands.
That's
you
true.
Should already know.
Yeah.
I do feel like that's an unwritten and unspoken demand that we can tend to have with men. If you're in a super difficult marriage with a man who just had never seen himself clearly, you've got a hard road. You really do. And I don't want to just breeze past that. It's a hard road. It's a road that many women have walked before you, and many men have walked before you. What you do is you get down on your knees and you pray and ask for help every single day. You beg for that day's allotment of help to do what is right by your husband, not because he deserves it, but because it's what the Lord has asked you to do. And it glorifies him when you do that. Faithfulness that is invisible to anyone but you and the Lord is glorifying to him.
If a wife's temper reflects what's going on in her heart, how do you root out the real cause of quarrels?
Yeah, James says that the reason that we quarrel and fight is because we're not getting what we want. We aren't getting what we want. A woman who is quarrelsome, a woman who is continually henpecking and is difficult to live with, she's not doing it because it's fun, right? She's not doing it because she wakes up in the morning and is just like, you know what sounds fun today? I'm going to just make life miserable for everyone around me. But she does it because there's something that she wants. And for some reason, she thinks this is the path to get that thing. And maybe if I continually remind him again and again of how disappointing he's been to me, eventually it's going to motivate him enough that he's going to change. Or if I continue to voice my feelings, maybe that will some way make me feel better. You know, if I continue to narrate all of my frustrations in life to everyone who can hear me, maybe that'll make me feel better somehow. You don't do it because it's fun. You do it because it's a habit and because you're pursuing something.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
And for the past 100 years, Shriners Children's has become family to millions of kids. But it's only possible because of people like you.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball. Because of people like you, I can play the trombone. I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go online to loveshriners.org, you'll help make all of this possible for kids like me. Like me. Like me.
When you say yes to giving just $19 a month, only 63 cents a day, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a reminder of all the kids you're helping every day.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to Turning Point Tonight, where together we are charting the course of America's cultural comeback. Remember, you can email the show anytime you want, tpt@tpusa.com. Turning Point Tonight at tpusa.com. We love seeing all of your emails, and if you send us some hilarious videos like the video that we're going to play you, we might actually end up seeing it on the show. You can also go to amfest.com to get 50% off of general admission tickets to, in my opinion, the best Turning Point event of the year. I know I've said, yeah, they're all great, and they are, but this one is just objectively the best. I just got to say it. America Fest, amfest.com, 50% off general admission tickets. Now, this video that we're going to play, and I got to get to it quick because we don't have a ton of time, is the prime example of think, or at least at the very least understand a little bit more of what you're talking about before you go run your mouth. Libs need to learn this especially, but watch this and the 180 reversal that happens when this guy figures out, oh shoot, I am on the wrong side of this. Check this out.
Hey, y'all, be careful. They're arresting people at work here. Hardworking Americans who build, the ones who do all your landscaping, work on your cars, fix all your stuff. They're coming out here taking them all. They're coming out here just taking everybody at work. Be careful, everybody. Don't go to work today.
Where you work, child sex crimes, so.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Never mind. He's a fucking weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. He's a fucking beto.
If you guys could do me a favor. No. So one of the goals that we try to do with stuff like this is we really try to get a lot of people have a lot of victims out there and they don't like to talk to us.
Got you.
Like they feel embarrassed about things. So just our goal is to save children out here. So
absolutely. I'm 100% with that. This is the good guy. This is the good guy right there.
Thank you guys.
We saving children.
Save the kids.
If you have children, watch out for that guy.
Yeah. I don't want to make light about that at all. That is a bad person. Allegedly, because all of the actual legal stuff. Bad dude, but also at the same time, that the example of that guy. Watch out! They're picking people up off the street, and you might think that if you listen to people like Governor Gavin Newsom, who said they're going to arrest citizens and all that crap that they say on the lib side of the aisle. If anybody's getting arrested on the street, it's got to be ICE, and they have to be vindicated. These people. The guy comes and say, "Yeah, we're actually the Child Sex Crimes Division." And that guy is going away for a very long time because of what he's done. Oh, okay. Bottom line: think before you open your mouth. Do a little bit of processing before you start deciding to take a side one way or the other. That's gonna do it for us here at Turning Point tonight. Charlie's gonna take us out. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner from Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, but fixing a drain is such a pain. Not anymore. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Simply remove and replace. In just seconds, you can fill and drain with a simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy.
Practically took me 5 seconds to replace. It absolutely made my sink look like brand new.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. How could it work so well, look so good, and install so quickly?
And forget clogging, because Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps catch debris before it goes down the drain. When the basket's full, just discard. Helps prevent clogs in your sink by catching hair, food, even jewelry. Drain Magic uses a silicone gasket that creates a watertight seal without messy plumber's putty. Look, this sink was filled hours ago and the water still remains. Press the spring-loaded stopper and the water's gone. Made of brass and finished in high-quality chrome, Drain Magic is rust-resistant and built to last.
It's made out of metal, not plastic, and it actually has some weight to it. Yeah, this is the real deal. Just looks like a new sink now.
Order your 2-in-1 drain solution, Mermaid Drain Magic, today for only $19.99. And with every order, you're going to get a Mermaid automatic toilet bowl cleaner absolutely free. Just drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of hands-free cleaning. Mermaid's ultra-concentrated formula cleans and deodorizes with every flush. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Mermaid Drain Magic at this incredibly low price with free Mermaid toilet bowl cleaner. There's a strict limit of 3. Call or click now to order.
Call 1-800-519-3206 or visit getdrainmagic.com. So call 1-800-519-3206 or visit getdrainmagic.com. Order now.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
And then you have a revolving door here with the industry of the same industries telling you should take a certain medical product or eat a certain food are able to capture the science and buy the studies and pick the scientists saying that we should be eating that or taking that. That it's so evil. I can't even express to you. So when we say MAHA, we're getting into all of these things,
but
right?
it's an overarching thing. We want America to be healthy, skinnier, and happier. It's like kind of that's the...
Or The Guardian, what they like to say about me in a hit piece is that I want to make all women thin, fertile, and Republican.
Yes.
I guess that's bad.
No, you need to have a shirt, thin, fertile, Republican.
I know. I want to do a whole campaign. I want to do a whole marketing campaign for the show that says that. I thought it was hilarious.
I love that. So, but let's transition to how monumental this was. And this, if of all the stuff that has happened in the 2024 election, we had a lot of coalitions built. Now, when you win a popular vote majority and you build coalitions, you just have to accept that some of those coalitions are going to probably fall apart once you win, right? You got people arguing about Iran, you got people arguing about government transparency, and that's normal. But to President Trump's enormous credit, he did 2 things. He won the presidency, obviously, and he put Bobby Kennedy in charge of HHS. And I remember I was talking to him about this at Mar-a-Lago. And he said, Charlie, I'm getting a lot of phone calls from all these drug companies. He resisted so much pressure from Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. And he said, I'm inclined just to give Bobby the whole thing. Because, they wanted just to have Bobby have some committee. They literally, the idea that was put forward by the lobbyists, just put Bobby in charge of some sort of panel that gets headlines every 6 months. And if that. And Bobby asked for the entire thing, and the President of the United States gave him that. And so, believe it or not, he is the most popular cabinet member by far.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
He has like 58% approval rating. And that's Democrats, that's independents, that's Republicans. So now, Alex, I want you to riff. And credit to President Trump for keeping his promise and keeping this coalition together. And that completes my point. Then I want you to go through your riff on the wins, which is that MAHA is the most cohesive movement from the 2024 election. And it's not even close. MAHA has grown since the election. MAHA has strengthened. And Democrat Party, they have no interest in trying to embrace being healthy. They're the party of processed foods. They're the party of obesity and pharmaceuticals. Now go through the wins. How are we winning? What is RFK Jr. doing in power to advance the MAHA agenda?
So the cumulative work that we've accomplished when it comes to health in America in this administration exceeds any other administration in presidential history, period. In the United States. We removed artificial food dyes in the first 60 days, which we know has caused behavioral issues in children, and it shows that children have, it can also, wreak carcinogenic effects that we've seen. We also accomplished SNAP reform. We're looking into what's allowed in formula, infant formula with Operation Stork Speed right now. Vaccine reform. there's some division that you might see on social media when it comes to the MAHA movement. You've got this camp that's obsessed with food. You've got this camp that's obsessed with we have to only focus on vaccines. We are accomplishing things with vaccines, okay? We have canceled mRNA vaccine contracts. We've ended the requirement that the COVID vax has to be given to pregnant women and children. We're restoring academic freedom at the NIH, and we are now acknowledging and tracking vaccine injury, which our government has basically never done, by the way. They've basically never done that. So you have all these families that are like, my child was vaccine injured. And then you have the pro-vaccine people like, well, there's no data to show that these are causing anything because the government hasn't been tracking it on purpose to protect the industry. So we're going to fix that. We're fixing the GRAS loophole. So GRAS, G-R-A-S, that means products. It stands for generally recognized as safe. And what that means is there was a loophole where companies have been allowed to self-certify that certain food additives are generally recognized as safe without formal FDA approval or even notifying the FDA in some cases. So the food companies were just deciding, I think this ingredient is good to go. We don't really need to show anybody else. That's a problem. We have now a full review of food additives that are banned in other countries. So we're checking what's going in all of our food. This is exciting this week. Now, you may have seen this and like, that's nice. And you didn't really think anything about it. This is actually one of our biggest wins. And let me explain why. So you may have seen that we just brought back the presidential fit test for elementary students. This is so exciting, you guys. It's actually arguably one of the most important things, believe it or not, because it's not that we don't have it's not that we need a policy issue with health. We really have a cultural issue. More than anything, we have a cultural issue. And so kids need to be exercising. They need to understand what's in their food and how to read ingredients and nutrition labels. This is going to help give more accountability for the food that we serve kids and where it comes from. Number one, this is going to be a total awakening that is going to lead Americans and totally demand change. Health has to be embedded into American culture. So when you are starting teaching this stuff with kids in elementary school, that's really where it starts, right? So we're getting rid of all the DEI BS and we're adding in the presidential fitness test, which is super exciting to start that conversation with students on their health, real health, not industry bought and paid for health. HHS currently working with federal agencies to create an official standardized definition of ultra-processed food. This is important. We don't have that because this is going to give a clear guidance on what counts as ultra-processed food. There will be a revamped nutritional guideline, not bought and paid for by industry, that we can go off. Now, here's what you need to be concerned by. And every single person listening and every single person in this room needs to be fired the hell up about this issue. We are dipping our toes in a dangerous area when it comes to the MAHA movement and potentially rocking the boat of all of these millions of voters that I just told you we just gained, because we are now flirting with the idea of a chemical liability shield. Foreign chemical companies are launching a coordinated campaign right now to secure sweeping legal immunity for chemical products in the United States. This legislation is going to prevent Americans from holding companies accountable, the chemical companies accountable, for health damages, by the way, of over 57,000 chemicals. This is exactly, if you remember, what we did when it comes to vaccines. We gave the vaccine companies immunity, right? So parents couldn't sue them. We are now about to do this with chemical companies in the United States. If we do not all start calling our congressmen and congresswomen and saying enough is enough, we do not support this, you better not support this.
The Charlie Kirk Show starts now. They say more than 1,300 arrests made so far. That includes a dozen known gang members, one part of Transgender, who's the subject of a murder-for-hire probe. Another's a minor taken into custody for intent to deal fentanyl. Plus, 5 missing children rescued, all that since August 7th.
52 people, I should say, were shot in Chicago, 30 different shootings over the holiday weekend, 7 people killed. Aren't numbers like that still a problem that your city needs to address? What more can be done to address that?
Trump is a dictator. I think we got to be very clear. He's trying to normalize violence. He's trying to normalize military deployment in American cities. What we have not seen is really a systemic investment that will actually address the core issues. I had shootings in my ward. One of them was a tragic shooting of an unhoused neighbor. So the Trump administration is saying that they're going to address the issue of unhoused residents by putting them in jails, in concentration camps. Are they going to address the issue of violence by withholding $800 million that have gone to the cities like Chicago for violence prevention program?
Crime. Here's why Democrat cities are plagued by violence should consider getting on board. If you look here at Washington, D.C. at a 2-week period this year compared to last year, property crime is down 20%. But the biggest thing are all of the violent crimes, often including robbery, which is down 60%. Homicides are down 71% from last year over this exact same period of time. Assaults with a dangerous weapon, down 10%. Yet, if you listen to Democrats, they don't care about those statistics.
It is time to call for Article 25 of the Constitution of the United States of America to determine his unfitness, to determine that something's wrong with this president. And I would suggest that we move very aggressively to talk about the danger to this country and to our democracy.
I mean, presidents have been impeached for much less.
This is true.
The Trump administration is planning to conduct a major immigration enforcement operation right here in Chicago. Sources confirmed to CBS News that could include armored trucks, federal troops, and ICE agents flooding the city.
This is a part of his plan to do something really nefarious, which is to interfere with elections in 2026. He wants to have troops on the ground to stop people from voting, to intimidate people from going to the voting booth. So take note. That is what this is all about.
What we won't do, however, is engage in what is a federal effort. That is to say, they have their job, immigration. We have our job, which is to fight violent crime on the streets of our city. And by the way, we're succeeding at that job. But when they bring people in and don't coordinate with us, they're going to cause enormous problems.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago.
Free buses has been proven to work in many parts of the country.
Where?
I'll get you a list of cities, but the bottom line is it is something that allows people to, one, reduce their costs, which people are overwhelmed by, to get into mass transit more. It works because we know that if people are given a quality alternative they can afford, they'll use it. Free buses.
And who runs that?
The city of New York runs it, just like we run so many other services. And the bottom line here is think about the free buses again. Free buses has been proven to work in many parts of the country.
Where?
I'll get you a list of cities, but the bottom line is it is something that allows people to, one, reduce their costs, which people are overwhelmed by, to get into mass transit more. It works because we know that if people are given a quality alternative they can afford, they'll use it.
That seems to be the intention, which is to damage individuals. You can damage them reputationally, you can damage them financially, professionally, and so on. And so by putting out these investigations or making these referrals or whatever, it does a lot of damage already, even if it never goes to trial or it doesn't go to a conviction or whatever.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Sometimes business travel takes you to Chicago, Amsterdam, Los Angeles, New Delhi, Tel Aviv, or Tokyo. And sometimes to Count of Air. Here at Book a Limo, we think globally. We think business, your business. It doesn't matter where you go. No place is too far. We're there for you.
What's your destination? Book a limo. Any car, anywhere.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everybody, happy Tuesday. Honored to be with you as always here in the Bitcoin.com studio. That is the Bitcoin.com studio. Much to cover this weekend. I hope you guys had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. You can email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. You know, I'm sure you were all enjoying college football, relaxing, maybe getting one last grilling session in with hopefully goodranchers.com, promo code Kirk, with your family. But, you know, Chicago, they celebrate Labor Day differently. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and the way that the teenagers and the youths, they celebrate Labor Day a little bit differently. You see, in Chicago, unlike in most pockets of America where it's all just about family and tradition, you see, in downtown Chicago, they want to break records. Now, they didn't quite break a record, but they got close. Prepare cut 288. This last weekend, 52 people were shot in the city of Chicago, 7 of them killed. Now, based on the shot to death ratio, I can tell you there's not a bunch of white supremacists doing this. Play cut 288.
52 people, I should say, were shot in Chicago, 30 different shootings over the holiday weekend, 7 people killed. Aren't numbers like that still a problem that your city needs to address? What more can be done to address that?
Trump is a dictator. I think we got to be very clear. He's trying to normalize violence. He's trying to normalize military deployment in American cities. What we have not seen is really a systemic investment that will actually address the core issues. I had shootings in my ward. One of them was a tragic shooting of an unhoused neighbor. So the Trump administration is saying that they're going to address the issue of unhoused residents by putting them in jails, in concentration camps. Are they going to address the issue of violence by withholding $800 million that have gone to the cities like Chicago for violence prevention programs?
Okay, so his first little statement was, hey, isn't violence a problem in Chicago? He can't even acknowledge that it is. He says, well, Trump is a dictator. He wants to normalize violence. No, you have been normalizing violence in Chicago. We have been putting up with violence in America's greatest cities, our once great cities, our biggest cities, in Chicago, in New York, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles. And President Donald Trump, he is now willing to bring in federal troops, to bring in the National Guard, the FBI, and put the D.C. model into Chicago. And to see how hard the Chicago political class is fighting a decrease in crime, this is an eye-opening experience, I hope, for a lot of Americans right now. The Democrat Party is the party of crime. Write that down. If you have a Democrat in your life, what is the argument that they're giving you against bringing in federal troops? You know what? The Democrats have normalized the idea that our cities are dangerous dumps and nothing can be done about it. Democrats, they like criminals because they feel sorry for them. You see, their entire worldview, their entire philosophical view is one that you are nothing more than a product of your environment. It's a very Marxist, materialistic, secular humanist way of thinking. It's that you do not have agency, you don't have the ability to rise above your circumstances. But you see, the guy that's shooting, he's putting his gun sideways and he's shooting up a bunch of youths at 2 a.m., he's really a victim. He's a victim of white supremacy, of capitalism. He's a victim of the patriarchy. He's a victim of all the different structures around him, and we should feel sorry for the criminal. Of course, the left has no such empathy for victims, no such empathy for civilization, because at its core, the left is a decivilizational movement. And no better way to decivilize the United States of America than have widespread crime. Widespread crime is the easiest way to turn a first world nation into a third world nation. The entire Democrat Party project is how quickly can we turn America into a third world hellhole. They try to do it by keeping our entire border open of 10,000 people a day when Joe Biden was president. They've tried to do it with the crime in our streets. And you see this on full display. And this is why my advice to the president, both privately and publicly, my advice to the White House, both privately and publicly, as I'm talking to them, go all in on Chicago. This is a perfect step 2. And to their credit, they proved it in step 1. Here are the numbers. This is cut 281. I can't wait till I get back on campus because they're going to be so mad about this. Oh, really? In D.C., robberies are down 71%. 71%. Play cut 281.
Here's why Democrat cities are plagued by violence should consider getting on board. If you look here at Washington, D.C., at a 2-week period this year compared to last year, property crime is down 20%. But the biggest thing are all of the violent crimes, often including robbery, which is down 60%. Homicides are down 71% from last year over this exact same period of time. Assaults with a dangerous weapon down 10%. Yet if you listen to Democrats, they don't care about those statistics.
No. It's my great friend, Charlie Kirk, who I was able to host Fox and Friends Weekend over the summer with him, and I'm going to do it again this fall. The only thing I would add, Charlie Kirk, is no, they do care. They're actually pro-criminal. It's a much different thing. The idea of law abiding bothers them because the law itself bothers them. The Democrat Party thinks the law are extensions of a white supremacist construct. They think they're extensions of a failed Western civilizational ambition. They look at this through the lens of decivilization. Law is a threat to their philosophical core. And that is why this is such a good topic. This is such a good fight for President Trump. You prove it in D.C., and then you go one city at a time and prove that urban crime is a choice. If you live in a major city and you worry about crime, it's because your leaders want there to be crime. Period. End of story. That's it. Crime is not some sort of intractable problem. Crime is not some sort of riddle. Crime is not the human genome. Crime is not us trying to figure out to break through the fourth law of physics or try to come up with something new. No, crime is actually super simple. Lock people up for a long period of time and have a lot of police and don't tolerate it. Lock people up for the small crimes and they won't do the big crimes. It is working in D.C. Play cut 286.
They say more than 1,300 arrests made so far. That includes a dozen known gang members, one part of Transgender, who's the subject of a murder-for-hire probe. Another's a minor taken into custody for intent to deal fentanyl. Plus, 5 missing children rescued, all that since August 7th.
And murders are down significantly. You see, the Democrat Party, this is why this issue, my advice to President Trump is go all in on this for the rest of your presidency. Because this issue exposes the unpatriotic, decivilizational, lawless core of what the Democrat Party is. It exposes the Democrat Party being a anti-Western American parasitic contagion. Because the Democrats have to oppose everything Donald Trump does. We've made fun of that. We've done plenty of humor. You know, Donald Trump says, I cure cancer, they'll be pro-cancer. We've talked about that. So Donald Trump says, I'm now bringing down crime and they have to find some sort of way to verbally contort, to do some sort of strange rhetorical calisthenics to try to convince you that this is bad. That no, actually crime going down is white supremacy, or it's the nationalization of our cities. Well, the nationalization of our cities is better than what we've been living through. What we've been living through is a third world racial jungle. And we don't want to live through that, where it's unrecognizable and it is, quite honestly, lawless. And Rudy Giuliani proved this in New York City. But how easily we forget. Rudy was injured in a car accident this last weekend. He stopped to help a woman who was apparently a victim of domestic violence. As he was pulling back out, he got hit at high speed from behind, broken vertebrae and everything. Now Trump says he's receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom. These cities have become unlivable. Everybody knows it. You're afraid to say it. And the response by the Democrat elite is so telling because they don't actually care about their constituents. They pander to a small subset of gangbangers, teenagers, youths, and for them, they would much rather have a dangerous, crime-infested city where they are, quote-unquote, elected and in charge than President Trump being able to bring in additional resources and bring down crime. Done with debt. You were supposed to be on top of your bills, then inflation hit. Well, let me show you a smarter and faster way out of debt. It's called Done with Debt. They're not like other debt relief companies. Done with Debt are legendary negotiators. They have one goal to dramatically reduce or eliminate your debt altogether. Go to donewithdebt.com. That is donewithdebt.com. I'll tell you more about it after the break.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can scan and hack your information without you even knowing. Worse yet, it's bulky and so disorganized. But not anymore, because Slim is in. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash truly protected. And now may be your last chance to get it for a low price. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from scanning your wallet and stealing your info.
Having your information stolen is a nightmare. But with Slim Mint, I know I'm protected.
With money clips, cash can easily fall out. But with the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. Then just press the button to release the lock. Slim Mint is ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to securely fit your additional cards and your extra cash. Even with everything you see here in the Slim Mint, it's still ultra-thin. Bulky wallets are uncomfortable, but the Slim Mint is so compact it fits in any size pocket. Plus, it keeps everything easy to access.
Slim Mint holds everything from pictures to credit cards, my driver's license. Yeah, it's still so thin.
Say bye-bye to bent cards and damaged magnetic strips. Slim Mint keeps them protected. It's crush resistant and can really take a beating. Similar wallets sell for over $100. But call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. You still have time to get your very own Slim Mint wallets, but you must act fast. Don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-608-6630. That's 1-800-608-6630. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-6630 now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Democrats, America is a republic, not a democracy. Fact check. True.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. I want to tell you guys about why refi. That's whyrefi.com. Private student loan debt in America totals about $300 billion. About $45 billion of that is labeled as distressed. Why refi refinances distressed or defaulted private student loans that others will not touch. They provide you with a custom loan payment based on your ability to pay. Go to whyrefi.com. Whyrefi does not care what your credit score is when the payment on your distressed or defaulted private student loan is so big that you can't ever get ahead in your finances. Whyrefi is surely your best option. Go to whyrefi.com. You can even skip a payment every 6 months up to 12 times without penalty. Go to whyrefi.com. That is YREFY.com. I guarantee you, somebody in this audience has private student loan debt issues. Well, get out of debt today at whyrefi.com. Because of private student loan debt, so many Americans feel helpless, and they've even lost hope. Whyrefi gives you a light at the end of the tunnel. So go to whyrefi.com. Whyrefi offers a 3-minute rate check without any credit impact. Go to yrefy.com. That's whyrefi.com. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Subscribe to our podcast. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. Brandon Johnson might be the most unimpressive mayor in America. He's doing a terrible job. He is not well liked by the people of Chicago. He's not smart. He's not bright. He shouldn't be the mayor of Chicago. Chicago deserves so much better than Brandon Johnson. His approval rating is below 20%. He's a Marxist. President Trump got like 30% of the vote in Chicago. So just so we are clear, President Donald Trump has more approval in Chicago than Brandon Johnson. And in order to be mayor of Chicago, you run in kind of a jungle primary, what it's called. And so you have like 8 or 9 different people that run. So if you get like 28, 29% of the vote, you become mayor. Now, there is a runoff system, I think, and you end up winning the runoff thanks to the teachers' unions, which run the entire state of Illinois. This is Brandon Johnson, who is overseeing 52 people shot and 7 people killed. Let's just kind of look at the totals here, which, by the way, they are down this year remarkably. But still, 245 people shot and killed, 1,121 people shot and wounded, 1,366 people shot, Mr. Johnson, with 293 homicides. In just the month of August, 39 people were shot and killed, 208 people were shot and wounded, 247 people were total shot with 43 homicides. The vast majority of this were black people shooting black people, just so we are clear. It's not white people that are shooting black people. The predominant driver of urban crime is black on black crime or just black crime in general, especially in the city of Chicago. But no one is able to say that because Brandon Johnson wants to try to make it that, I'm fighting white supremacy, even though he will not address black crime in his own city. And just because we've been desensitized and used to this doesn't mean it's okay. Just because I grew up my entire life getting used to, 300 to 500 people getting shot a summer in Chicago does not make it okay. This is Brandon Johnson, play cut 307.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong. If this president decides to continue to break this Constitution.
Okay, let's go through a couple things. First of all, are you encouraging people to fight federal troops, Mr. Mayor? Is that what you're saying? Sounds like an insurrection language. If And if a Republican governor were to say something like that, woof, under Joe Biden, also, how is that any different than how the left got really mad and angry at Mr. Wallace, George Wallace? Remember, I'm going to fight federal troops against segregation. Well, you're going to fight federal. See, the Democrats, they have some parallels throughout their history. In fact, I think Wallace was a Democrat, if I'm not mistaken. If we go a level deeper here, though, which I think is very important, just a side note before I go a level deeper, Native Americans did not build Chicago. Okay, the Potawatomi Indians did not build Chicago. The Illinois tribes did not build Chicago. They occupied Chicago. They didn't build anything, okay? Very sweet, nice people. They didn't build anything. Chicago really started as a military base in 1803, Fort Dearborn. It was built largely, by the way, by the Irish and the Poles and the Czechs and the Bohemians and the Italians. And it was not built by slaves. I mean, there was a big influx of black migration that came to Chicago. And actually, before we decided to addict a bunch of our populations on government benefits, those parts of Chicago were flourishing, were safer. Chicago was largely built up after the Civil War, Mr. Mayor, but he just has to say it because it's kind of part of the modern incantation of the Democrat Party. I think President Trump should call his bluff. I think we should flood the zone. It's already working in Washington, D.C. Chicago is a next perfect test case. As I said in D.C., and people laughed at me, you bring in the tanks, you fly the drones, you send in the Marines. It worked in D.C., it will work in Chicago. People were laughing, oh my goodness, why are there tanks in D.C.? Well, it worked because the show of force is all that these good-for-nothing lowlifes, these lowlifes that are shooting people at 1 or 2 a.m., that's all they understand. These good-for-nothing lowlifes that are spraying and praying, and sometimes a 6-year-old girl gets struck on her way to school, that right there is completely unacceptable. We're not going to put up with that. In the United States of America, we're not going to put up with urban crime anymore. We're going to go city by city, block by block. And the Democrats really don't like it. The left, they don't know how to answer it because, oh, our cities are so safe, so stay away so we can keep them unsafe. Really? You guys have been complaining about how dangerous these cities are for a while. Give us more money because our cities are so unsafe. It's time for a federal takeover of Chicago. We've been calling for this for quite some time. I think we're getting closer. I think you're going to see the president pull the trigger sometime soon. What is Mayor Johnson going to do? Resist? We'll talk more after the break.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere to fix that? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast, so strong, and so convenient. It's like putting the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires of your car on a single charge, or inflate a bag full of soccer balls at practice. Bullseye Pro is so advanced, it has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Plus, it can be 100% hands-free. You simply set the target pressure and walk away, keeping you out of harm's way. Bullseye Pro is lightweight, durable, and powerful enough to inflate this massive monster truck tire. Plus, it has 4 ultra-bright LED lights to safely inflate at night. Bullseye Pro comes with 3 custom air nozzles on board, so you can easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Forget driving to the gas station. Bullseye Pro is your anywhere, anytime inflation station. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system, all for the factory direct price of just $79.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. But to really inflate this offer, we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. You get it all. An incredible value for one low price. Call or go online to order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718 or go to getbullseyepro.com. So call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718 or order online at getbullseyepro.com. Order now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Terrence Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. Thanks so much for being here with us. A 1960-style face-off between the federal government and the city of Chicago could be brewing. At issue is President Trump's threat to deploy National Guard troops in the Windy City in order to help get the city's crime problem under control. Thousands of protesters took to the streets in Chirac, as it's known, to push back against the idea, and the city's mayor was leading the charge.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person.
Meantime, taking to Truth Social, the president encouraging the mayor of Chicago to work with him to bring crime down. Quote, "It can happen and it can happen fast. Work with us." The commander-in-chief points to his success in Washington, D.C. and also points out, quote, "Crime is totally out of control in Chicago. 6 dead, 24 badly wounded last week alone, and we're now learning those numbers have increased." The death toll from Sunday's deadly earthquake in Afghanistan is expected to increase as rescue and recovery operations continue. At last check, more than 1,400 people were confirmed dead and at least 3,000 injured. The massive quake is affecting remote areas and mountainous terrain, which is making operations that much more difficult. The Taliban-run country is calling for international aid to help deal with the devastation from the magnitude 6 quake. Sunday's tremor marks Afghanistan's third deadly quake since the Taliban retook control of the country in 2021. As of late Sunday, Afghanistan's foreign ministry claimed no foreign governments had reached out to provide support for rescue or relief work. The U.S. State Department is out with an ex-post, however, offering condolences for the loss of life as a result of the earthquake. Well, that's going to do it for your headlines. As always, we appreciate having you along for the ride. I'm Terrence Bates. We'll have more headlines at the top of the hour. In the meantime, let's get you back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
100% American made. And darn proud of it. The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. I want to tell you guys about the TikTok economicimpact.com. TikTok has helped U.S. businesses contribute over $24 billion for the U.S. economy, and that's real money flowing into small businesses. Like Arizona Taco King, who went viral on TikTok and hit $1.3 million in sales in their first year. They're now hiring more staff to scale up. I want to play some of our viral clips right here on TikTok. Let's play cut 20.
What do you say to those that are against homeschooling?
Well, they can apply for a job from you in 10 years from now. That's awesome. You're going to be more polite, smarter, wiser, happier, more direction, more purpose, less corrupted, more understanding, more battle ready, better prepared, less confused, more biblical, more grounded, more Christ-like. If you are homeschool your kids. If you can, homeschool your kids. If they're scorning you, or they're saying bad things to you, blessed are you who are persecuted in my name, it says James 1:5. So I'm a big fan of homeschooling. By the way, it used to be, the homeschool kids were quote unquote weird. No. The homeschool kids are wise. The homeschool kids, they're going to be the ones that are going to be running society. My money's on the homeschool kids more so than anybody else. God bless you. Stay strong. Thank you. It's TikTok, economicimpact.com. TikTok is helping small businesses thrive. We have received billions and billions of views on TikTok, more than $24 billion flowing into the U.S. economy. Learn more about TikTok's contribution to the U.S. economy at TikTokEconomicImpact.com. That's TikTokEconomicImpact.com. Portions of our program are brought to you in part by TikTokEconomicImpact.com. Okay, let's play another piece of tape here. This is from this last weekend. Play cut 302.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago.
Says the guy that is literally less popular than Donald Trump in Chicago. Now, look, we have to not keep our eye off D.C. We have to keep on making sure that crime is going down and down and down in D.C. This is J.B. Pritzker right here, cut 298. J.B. Pritzker is saying President Trump is planning to do immigration raid in Chicago to keep the illegals from voting in the 2026 election. Wait, let me repeat that. J.B. Pritzker is worried that illegals being deported might impact their chances in the 2026 election. Play cut 298.
This is a part of his plan to do something really nefarious, which is to interfere with elections in 2026. He wants to have troops on the ground to stop people from voting, to intimidate people from going to the voting booth. So take note. That is what this is all about.
I challenge J.B. Pritzker just to walk the west side of Chicago. I could pick the neighborhood without your security. Why don't you wear a GoPro camera and let's see what happens. President Donald Trump is going to do a major immigration raid. By the way, we have to go block by block. We need to up those deportation numbers. They're actually pretty good. I think we can actually get to 2 million this year. Let's play cut 292.
The Trump administration is planning to conduct a major immigration enforcement operation right here in Chicago. Sources confirm to CBS News that could include armored trucks, federal troops, and ICE agents flooding the city.
What is so amazing is how we have been desensitized to grotesque aspects of the lower bowels of humanity, these lowlifes. If you visit other countries around the world, you realize you don't have to live like this. You don't have to have 300 murders a summer. You don't. And Democrats have been so propagandized by their leaders, and that's why this is so good. If people can feel a material increase and a material improvement in the quality of life, that shifts the Overton window in a dramatic way. You see, the Democrats, some of this is rooted in progressive idealism. Democrats often operate with assumptions that human beings are fundamentally good. This is a very important thing. The teaching from the scriptures that man is originally flawed and that we have original sin is one of the reasons why we believe that you need laws and you need restraints. But Democrats, liberals, they have a Rousseauian view. That's Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a Rousseauian view of human nature. They think human beings are naturally good and that it's all of the environment that contaminates us. I encourage you to apply this methodology to any liberal that you talk to in your life. They generally think that human beings are born naturally good. The Rousseauian view, they will privilege the infant over the adult. They think the infant is actually a better person because you were born good and you grow to be bad because of what is around you. The Rousseauian will value, this is important, the primitive over the civilized. Why do you think that Brandon Johnson needs to mention the indigenous people? Because they value the primitive over the civilized. To them, civilization is a toxin. We look at civilization as a blessing. The Rousseauian view of human nature is that a human being, as they grow, will be influenced by the structures around them to such a great degree that there's no such hardwiring of nature. Now, we as natural law believers, and of course as Christians, we don't even have to be a Christian to believe this. You just have to believe in the natural law. The natural law explains all of this. We, as those who understand that normativity is woven into nature, we say, wait a second. At the very least, you might have a Lockean view of human nature, that there's a blank slate, but I have a much more of a biblical Hobbesian view of nature, that God created us good, but there was a fall, and that sin is inherent in our nature, and that we need redemption. If human beings are naturally good, why do you have to teach kids manners? I find that most people who think human beings are naturally good have not spent a lot of time as parents. They really haven't. Civilization is order, but the left looks at civilization as an authoritarian takeover project. They complain that America itself is authoritarian. So why wouldn't they also think that President Trump's takeover of Chicago is authoritarian? But you have to know what you are aiming at. This is why classical philosophy is so important in all this. What are we aiming towards? The left, what is their end? You see, you can find the essence of a thing if you know the end of the thing. What is their goal? What is their accomplishment? For the left, part of it is progressive idealism, but honestly, and this is where you guys should get the quote from The Dark Knight, they just want to rule over the ashes. It's that simple. They will dress themselves in the progressive idealism, but Brandon Johnson to formerly Lori Lightfoot to J.B. Pritzker, they just want to be in charge because they have deeply disturbed personal lives. They've never been able to create any value in the marketplace. Do you notice the vast majority of these people have never actually created any value in their life? They've only consumed value, as you can see exhibited right there. And the fact that they've actually never had to create any value to take risks in the marketplace, that they fill this void with power. They have an existential spiritual problem. And that is why you find the churchless, the people without spirituality, the people without children or close connections to children, they're predominantly on the left because they fill that God-sized hole in their heart with politics. And that is a bad counterfeit replacement. And so what President Donald Trump is doing with this National Guard is he's exposing the wretched, dark philosophy that has infected not just the Democrat Party, but our elementary schools, because they look at the criminals that are gangbanging and they say, oh, they were born good, but they were really harmed by white supremacy. Let me tell you right now, the 53 people that were shot over this last weekend, it's not because of white supremacy. It's because of other things, bad decisions, bad influences. How about not having a father around? And this is widespread all the way throughout the academic of the left. And now today's a new ruling out of San Francisco. In an effort to stave off further violations of the Posse Comitatus Act in California, Judge Breyer, who is the brother of Stephen Breyer, blocked Trump and Hegseth from using troops there for arrests, apprehensions, searches, seizures, security patrols. The judge paused that part of his ruling until next Friday to give the administration time to appeal it. Now, this will obviously be overturned without a doubt. I'm sorry, it's 56 shot, not 53. 30 separate shooting incidents. Now, this ruling that I'm talking about is clearly political, meant to stifle the president's commitment to stopping crime in other big cities, since Judge Breyer himself brought it up in his own ruling. Quote, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have stated their intention to call National Guard troops into service into other cities across the country. They're trying to preempt President Trump from making Chicago safer. They're trying to prevent the federal government from doing what they were elected to do. But we're not going to lay off on this. Honestly, at this point, if you make the 2026 midterms at least partially about urban crime, we're going to win on that topic. Trust me, we are going to win on that topic. Exhibit A, play cut 325.
Sure, they can complain about it. They can point out the weaknesses in it and the dangers of it. But as we learned in 2024, a large portion of the American population, in fact, nearly a majority, doesn't particularly care about the democracy argument or fear of authoritarianism. Their fear of crime, even if the statistics don't support their fear of crime is greater than the fear of authoritarianism.
Let me tell you, there's some real power in what I think it's Castellanos, right? I've actually met him before. He's a nice guy. He's kind of a lib. No, I'm sorry, that's Larry Sabato. I met him before. Nice guy, but he's been wrong about a lot. Let me tell you why this is so impactful. This ties to a thesis we've had before. What does authoritarianism, democracy, and dictator all have in common? These are abstractions. You're kind of appealing towards an academic, esoteric, erudite phrase. Instead, we're trying to improve the lived quality of life and experiences of real Chicagoans. I guarantee you right now, if Chicagoans can roll down their window at cross streets they otherwise couldn't, they'll say, I don't care about authoritarianism. My life is better. I'm going to explain this more, which is that the left is so college educated. They are so insulated amongst academic debates. They don't realize most of the country deals in quality of life issues. Am I able to stop at a stoplight and put down my window and enjoy it or not? Can I walk to the Sox game or not? Right now, you should not walk to the Sox game. Do not do that. Do not walk to Comiskey Park. Do not do that. You might die. Patriot Mobile. You have a lot of choices for cell phone service with new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Charlie to get a free month of service. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie. patriotmobile.com/Charlie. We must be clear about our ends. Here is the dream I have for Chicago. You can walk from the University of Illinois Chicago to Comiskey Park at 2 a.m. without armed security, and you could do it happily. Let's make it happen. We'll be right back.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product, so I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 Steam Mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
To the future of America. And the future is bright. Here is Charlie Kirk.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. We're about to be back on campus next week. Utah Valley State University. Are you in Salt Lake City or in Utah? Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your loved one, bring your libs. Especially, you got to bring the libs. Bring the commies, bring the Marxists, bring the anarchists. Bring them all. Utah Valley State University. Play cut 53. You guys know how it works. Open mic. We're going to be here for a couple hours, so get comfortable. So you would get rid of all borders. Yes. What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human. But
therefore, they should have human rights.
No.
He's a liar. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself, not about the other people. It's very clear by how you're acting. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
A lot of people. How are we doing?
I'm on the move like a runaway. No turning back, I pick up the pace. I do not care what the others say. Listen, I told you that I did not come to play. We about to take it to higher heights. History's waiting when I arrive. Today is the dawn of a new, and I'm about to shovel. Now they cannot hold me down. When you a winner, you learn from your losses. We came from the bottom and now we the bosses. The future is yours, so what will you choose? If you give it your all, you got nothing to lose.
Okay, everybody, welcome back here at the Bitcoin.com studio. So you can understand the left better through classical philosophy. There's this word in ancient Greek called telos, T-E-L-O-S. It's where we get the word telescope from, which means far out in the distance. There's the teleological argument for the existence of God, but essentially telos is aims, end, the destination, purpose, ultimate goal. So what is the ultimate goal of the American right? Honestly, I just told you, we want, when it comes to Chicago, we want the old Chicago back. We want the good Chicago, the one where you could walk from Wrigley Field down to the Mag Mile, the one where you could walk from Comiskey Park to UIC, where you don't have to worry and look over your shoulder. We want Chicago to be as safe as Tokyo. Now, why do we want that? It's because that is embedded in the good life. We want the American good life for all people. We want the American way of life to come back to every square inch, to every zip code. We want the American way of life to come back to every neighborhood, to every home. That is the mandate that we were elected on, we ran on, and that we're going to fulfill in our lifetime. We want that American way of life back, that you don't have to look over your shoulder, whether you're in Memphis, New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles. It is part of an American renaissance. But what is the telos of a Democrat, T-E-L-O-S, which is the end point, which is the purpose or the ultimate goal? But since liberals and Democrats believe man is basically good, but corrupted by unjust systems, the purpose of politics is to dismantle those systems. Most importantly, this, and write this down and remember it: capitalism, patriarchy, tradition, and religious morality. They look at the state as a savior. They look at the state. This is where you get Mr. Hegel and the phenomenology of spirit. They look at the state as being the salvific figure. And they want to decolonize and decivilize because they think all the evil that's happening in America is not because that people naturally are fallen, but they believe it's because the system itself must be torn down. This now start to make sense. This is why Islam is best friends with liberalism for different reasons. You see, the end of Islam is different than the end of liberalism, but they have an intermediary endpoint goal. The end of Islam is the institution of the Ummah, the Sharia. This is the Red-Green Alliance, where the Marxists, they want to deconstruct, bring us back to a primitive state of nature that we will then be able to rise up without any of the racism, the patriarchy, and we'll all be able to live freely and run through the hills without clothes listening to John Lennon songs, and we're all going to be fine, and love is love while we do LSD. In some sort of weird creation of their mind, that is what liberals want to bring. But it ends up being hell on earth, not heaven on earth. It ends up being closer to Seattle than Seoul, South Korea. But secondly, this is where the Islamists work in perfect harmony with the liberals, because they have an intermediary telos, not an ultimate destination, but they have an intermediary endpoint. The intermediary endpoint for the Islamists is, well, we have to unwind this entire Western project. We have to decouple all of this. And you see this all throughout Europe, by the way. Women in France now have to wear extra clothing on the subway to protect themselves by being groped by illegal aliens. We should play that video. Life does not have to be this way. All throughout France, women have to wear extra clothes because third worlders are groping them. It's called the subway shirt. That is brought to you by the European elites. And by the way, I have a great document here. This is accelerating at a rapid pace in Europe right now, just so we are clear. The right-wing populist movement is growing very quickly in Europe. It's not slowing down. It's accelerating. There is this agreement amongst those in the European leadership elite, like, yeah, this immigration thing was way too much. We did way, way too much. And it's true. It's only older European boomers who prop up old liberalism in Europe. And basically they're like, hey, keep it going until I die. Keep the checks going. That's European boomers. Muslim-aged school children in European capitals is up 43% in Amsterdam, 52% in Brussels, 41% in Vienna, 37% in London. But why do this? Well, liberals imported a bunch of Muslims for a lot of different reasons, but the obvious one is that they hated Europe. Get rid of Europe. The idea of a European identity is something that they fundamentally can't stand, and they held white guilt without the Christian practices to be able to deal with guilt. Here is a combination. You should write this down and remember it. Guilt without Christianity equals really, really bad liberal ideas, because you have to assuage your guilt over a period of time by doing something. We stand for civilization, and they are a decivilizational movement. Second hour coming up.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
To this Real America's Voice news break, I'm Terrence Bates. As you age, you may begin to lose strength, flexibility, energy, sex drive, your waistline. John Jubilee of Energized Health says it's never too late to make a comeback. You can reclaim what you've lost. All you have to do is put a little work in. In fact, he's got a lot of people who are witnesses.
When I started the 555, I weighed 280 pounds. I didn't think I was heavy. I didn't think I was fat. Today, I weighed 235. I've lost 45 pounds in a little over 60 days.
I had breast cancer in 2004 and lost all my hair on my entire body. And my all-skill victory is my hair's coming back. A lot of energy.
The program's amazing. I can't believe how well it works, and it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
John Jubilee joining me now to explain. John, there are some people who are going to hear that and say, yeah, come on, that can't be 45 days. But you say, no, it's real. John,
well, it is real. It is real, Terrence. For 28 years, tens of thousands of people did something, Terrence, that was the last program they ever did. Because look, how many of us out there, we already tried the diet. We already tried the exercise. You know, we tried the low carb, the no carb, the keto. We tried all that stuff, but none of that stuff is sustainable, Terrence. But what we share is so simple. It's such amazing science that it is sustainable and it transforms lives. And guys, everyone can do it. Terrence, I got a couple in their 90s. They were 92 years old when they signed up for the protocol. They gained muscle, they gained hydration, they lost their fat, got back their mojo and their energy at 92 years old.
Wow, that's awesome. You see there on the screen, energizedhealth.com. And John, folks can log on to energizedhealth.com right now to kind of get a handle on the masterclass. There's a masterclass that's accessible.
Yeah, the great thing about that masterclass, Terrence, just walks people through. You can just sit down, guys, about 15 minutes, and you can learn the breakthrough science of what has really helped tens of thousands of people who were stuck, people who thought they could never succeed, people who were high blood pressure, diabetic, just had the truck tire, or the flab they wanted to get rid of. They were lacking their energy. They had joint pain, but they reversed, and Terrence, they got back their life. And I'm talking, again, people in their 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, wherever you're at, never too late to take the first step of being the best you, having your best health for the rest of your life.
And this isn't a gym protocol. You don't have to go and lift big weights and run miles and all of that. This is simply getting internal, kind of resetting your internal clock.
Well, it really is, Terrence. It resets your metabolism back like you were 17. You don't have to go to the gym for one day. We're going to teach you one simple cellular health exercise, Terrence, that you can do while you're watching Real America's Voice. You can do it while you're making your phone calls. So you don't have to go to the gym, guys, to be healthy. But you do have to take a step. If you want something different, you have to do something different. If you want to change, you got to be willing to make a change. But we'll make it super simple and give you something that is sustainable and really is transformative at the cellular level. This is getting healthy at the cellular level with our breakthrough science of intracellular hydration.
And it's science-backed. I think that should ease people's minds a little bit.
Yes, Terrence, the fact that this is science-backed and it is fully medically approved. So this is a protocol that can be sold in a doctor's office. We have hundreds of doctors, Terrence. They transform their personal health because they saw their patient's health transform. Fully medically backed science.
All right, John Jubilee, always good to see you. EnergizedHealth.com. Log on, go check out that masterclass, and you should be able to have a great rest of your life as you kind of push forward and try to change things. As John said, you got to do something different if you want to get different results, and this might be something different for you. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Real America's Voice. We appreciate you being here with us. Now, let's get you back to your regularly scheduled programming.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. Now, I just got to give you a little bit of heads up here. Here you're going to have a great man, a good friend of mine, but 2 Chicagoans really bringing the heat here. You know, I first met Julio Rosas, who's really become a fire pistol. I got to tell you, this guy, he's been doing great. And Julio, I think we met at Lyle, Lamont, Illinois. Is that right, Mr. Julio? Thanks to our good friend Bill Montgomery.
Yeah, it was around that time. Yeah, 2014. I still remember it very well.
I remember you were like one of our first Turning Point USA leaders. And that was like 11 years. I'm so proud of what you're doing. And you got courage, which is really hard to find. You have courage. So, Julio, you spent time in our home city this last weekend. What did you learn?
Yeah, so I'm still in Chicago right now. And of course, the reason why is because with the high rate of crime that's here in the city, a lot of the residents and a lot of the far left residents, I would say, they protested yesterday on Labor Day. And of course, Labor Day is historically a very left-wing holiday. There's always marches, there's always rallies, but they kind of had a pivot because President Trump wants to send in the National Guard, extra federal agents to the city to address crime, to increase the number of arrests for illegal aliens. So that's what they pivoted to. And as you see with the video, there's a lot of Mexican flags. There's a lot of anti-Trump, anti-ICE sentiment being espoused at this thing. Mayor Brandon Johnson was at the rally, and he was talking about how, we have to defend this city. We have to defend this part that was built by slaves, built by indigenous people. Very, very, common left-wing talking points when it comes to this nation's history. And so I would say that it remains to be seen what will actually happen if the deployment does take place, which could be this week, it could be next week. But all this was happening when there was multiple mass shootings over this holiday weekend. One of them took place right down the street from Chicago Police Headquarters. So this weekend, if they wanted to prove that they didn't need any help from the federal government with Chicago, that didn't happen because we had over 50 people shot just within the span of about 3 days.
Yeah, and so, but help the non-Chicagoans in this audience understand, when we grew up in Chicago, we grew so desensitized to the violence, we didn't even think about it. And what President Trump is doing is he's short-circuiting that desensitization and saying, you don't have to live this way. You don't have to live with 300 murders so far in Chicago, 293. And so, Julio, walk our audience through how normalized this level of carnage and blood and suffering has become in Chicago.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, just growing up watching the news, the shootings was always usually the first thing that the local stations would lead in with. And what we've seen in D.C., right, with Trump having the surge there, there's only been one murder so far in that takeover. And so that's pretty great. Chicago's a little bit different, but of course, every city has a bad area. So here in Chicago, it's like the West Side, the South Side. And the common thinking is that, well, if you stay in the Loop, you stay on the North Side, you should be fine. You're not going to really see any of that. But the problem is, in the years since the BLM movement, in the years since the Defund the Police movement, and with increasingly more incompetent mayors, with Brandon Johnson being the most recent one, we've seen that crime that would be centralized in kind of those two locations. It would be spread out. So we'd see murders in the Loop. We'd see murders and carjackings in neighborhoods that would be considered the nice parts of town. And that's what's been kind of shocking to see for some of the residents. But the problem is because the solution to this is to actually crack down on criminals and crack down on repeat offenders. The progressive sensibilities and the progressive beliefs won't allow them to agree with President Trump to say, okay, fine, yes, let's send in extra people so that we can kind of clamp down on the element, right? Because obviously it's not every single person in Chicago. It is concentrated in certain areas, but since they know that they can get away with so much because Chicago police are handcuffed, the judiciary system is pro-criminal, they know they can get away with a lot of stuff. And that's a story similar in other parts of the country. And Chicago is just the latest example of that. So it is very much a problem.
Why is it, though, again, Mayor Johnson has just signed an executive order that Chicago Police Department will not cooperate with federal authorities. How do you explain that, Julio Rosas?
I really wish I knew. Of course, we can just say, well, that's what he believes, and I think he does. I think he really believes what he espouses. But it's because it's just. I know it's cliche to say, but it is a little bit of Trump derangement syndrome, right? I mean, you would think that anybody, any leader that does have a high rate of crime would want to have any help that they can get, like actual help. But instead, all he's asking for is, well, if you want to help us, President Trump, just send us money. And as you and I both know, if you send money to Chicago in large sums, it can get into other places that it shouldn't be, or you spend in ways that it shouldn't be. So that's why, again, President Trump is saying, no, we're not going to just give you money just to throw money at and waste at it. We're going to actually put people on the streets. We're going to put in the National Guard. We're going to put in federal agents to help. So I don't know what goes into the thinking to say, no, we're not going to do that. It shows that all this is by choice, right? The same thing in DC. Right. The crime is going to happen, right? But you can take steps. You can take concrete steps to mitigate that and not let repeat offenders back onto the streets. But in the wake of 2020 and all that craziness, it is just blatantly pro-criminal. It is anti, victims of crime, with not just letting criminals run free, but letting them off the hook on certain very egregious crimes. So I don't know why, outside of just they have really bought into the propaganda that they have been espousing about how racist and horrible this country is.
Let's play cut 327.
There are also other solutions where the city mayor, the governor of Illinois, the president could work together, like on universal background checks, and also making sure that they continue to fund intervention programs for young people to dissuade them from engaging in crime.
And there's been absolutely no discussion about any sort of bipartisan collaboration.
Yeah, that's what we need, bipartisan collaboration. Well, how about this? Let's put dads back in the home, and let's put cops back on the streets. Julio, your reaction.
Right. And look, it doesn't, there can be other solutions to this, right? I mean, it is multifaceted, right? But they're not doing the number one thing that has been proven to reduce crime. Mayor Giuliani did that famous crime crackdown back when he was mayor, and it was successful, and it was so successful that people forgot about how horrible things were, and then they worked over the years to undo that, and that's why New York is in the state that it's currently in. So that's kind of the problem. People develop this kind of amnesia because things are so good that they then try to look for problems that aren't necessarily there. So I think President Trump's plan is a step in the right direction for Chicago.
Look, we need more prisoners in this country, period, hard stop. We've said that and people freak out. But let me prove it to you. Do you know that there were 59 people shot, 9 homicides, 3 mass shootings, and then only 2 suspects detained? Julio, talk about this. 1 minute remaining. The clearance rate in Chicago, they say, is 50%. I think that's total BS. I think it's probably closer to 15 to 20%, which means that 80% of criminals just walk free. Let me say this again. We do not have enough people in jail based just on the statistics that we know of. Julio, 40 seconds, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, if you look at the crime rate and the recidivism, if you actually lock up half the criminal element that is habitually being arrested, and in almost any city, this is like not just with Chicago, the crime rate falls dramatically, right? Because they're the ones that are constantly doing it and being enabled to go back out because either, the cops have to let them go. I mean, Illinois has some pretty bad bail laws now regarding that. And it's been in place for about a year or two, or it's the judiciary. So I mean, this is going to be a long-standing problem. And that's while that I think that President Trump's plan is good, there's other problems that he can't necessarily just snap his fingers and solve. So kind of like with immigration, right? And the immigration problem, he's making great strides in addressing fixing the border crisis. But there are other things that are hamstringed. He's being hamstringed along the way. And when it comes to public safety, it's the same thing.
I would say right there. You have a lot of choices for cell phone service, but new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie. Worried about coverage? Don't be. Patriot Mobile uses all 3 major U.S. networks. Stuck in a contract or owe money on your phones? Don't worry. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code CHARLIE. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Charlie. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie. Julio Rosas continues after the break. Email us, freedom@charliekirk.com. We'll be right back.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5. It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Researchers than the CDC. Yeah, may not be saying much. It's the Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. I want to tell you guys about why refi. By the way, I'm going to a foreign country that will take me about 14 hours to get there. Any guesses where you think I might be going? I'm going to tweet that out. People are going to lose their mind. I'm going to a foreign country. It'll take me about 14 hours to fly. I wonder where I'm going to go. Go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. You can finally take control of your student loan situation, a plan that works for your monthly budget. Go to yrefy.com. Let's face it, if you have distress or defaulted private student loans, you guys can check it out right now at yrefy.com. That's yrefy.com. Do you have a co-borrower? YRefi can get them released from the loan. You can give mom or dad a break. You can skip a payment every 6 months without up to 12 times that penalty. Just call 888-YREFI34. Go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. May not be available in all 50 states. That's yrefy.com. When the payment on your distressed or defaulted private student loan is so big that you can't ever get ahead, go to yrefy.com. That is yrefy.com. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast. That's the Charlie Kirk Show podcast page. Stay right there. Welcome back, everybody. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com, and subscribe to our podcast here at the Bitcoin.com studio. Julio, tell people where they can find your work and how they can follow your important coverage here.
So they can find most of my stuff at Blaze Media, at theblaze.com. For social, at Julio Rosas, Julio_Rosas11 on X. And there's also my Substack, mostly peaceful.media.
What other stories are you focused on or covering currently, Julio?
Well, I got to say, it's just been the far left insurrection that's been happening across the country, namely dealing with immigration and the immigration crackdown. I would say that I also covered the surge of National Guardsmen into D.C., and I lived in that area for some time. And I can tell you that, especially after 2020, like a lot of other places, D.C. was going downhill. And again, a lot of it was purposeful, by design, by policy. And it was noticeably safer. It was noticeably better after that surge. So that's why with Chicago right now, I think President Trump can replicate some of that success here.
The problems that we are facing in America are easily solved with political will. Immigration, crime, drug trafficking. But we have an anti-civilizational, I don't even think it's a third, I think it's probably a fourth of the country, that simply refuse to do the obvious. Because their foundational ideology is that our civilization is inherently bad. They look at a civilization as an oppressive force. Do you see that kind of energy in your on-the-street reporting, Julio?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that again, that's the whole reason why they believe that their tactics are necessary to make this change in their eyes, to remake the United States as it is right now, because it's so evil in its current form that we can't vote our way out of it. We can't do the normal political, changes with laws and stuff. We have to take more radical steps just because we have this quote unquote history of just pure evil. And of course that's not true at all, but you have to buy into that in order to justify some of these more radical things. And then of course, unfortunately, like with the trans shooter in Minneapolis just recently, that they view that in terms of preventing men and women's sports, preventing men and women's bathrooms. They view that as a genocide. So that's why we've seen, unfortunately, these attacks on the most vulnerable in our society, because, well, we just need to do that so that they finally listen and cave to our demands.
Well, and Julio, I want to just zero in on this. We did not cover this very much. Do you know that, and I sent this story earlier to our team, the media is apologizing for misgendering the shooter. NBC issues a correction for misgendering the Minnesota trans Catholic school shooter. So they're worried about the feelings and the sensitivity of a mass murdering maniac. That's where their priorities are. Quote, a previous version of this article used the wrong pronoun for the shooter. She used female pronouns. So understand the sickness that you must have in your life to now police the pronouns of a mass murderer who killed kids at Catholic Mass. And that goes to show the moral darkness that has infected not just the American left, but the American media. We should intentionally use the correct pronouns, but even so, you should intentionally do everything you can to not remember the memory of a mass shooting maniac in any sort of glorified or deified way. You should not try to sanctify or show respect to a mass murdering transgender individual. Julio, are you worried about the rise in transgender terrorism in this country?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know people want to use a statistic where we'll look at all these other mass shooters through history where they're straight white males. But outside of the fact that this is now a more recent trend, because obviously this problem has been growing within the past 10 years. And so that's why the data is a little bit off when it comes to that. But also there's been multiple other transgender would-be shooters that thankfully were stopped before they were able to carry out their attacks. There was a case, I believe it was last year in the Midwest, where it was a very similar thing, a similar case where this transgender individual wanted to carry out attacks on a school and churches. That was on their target list. So it builds into, again, this is what I'm saying, where because the United States is finally headed in the right direction on a number of issues, the activists and the people that believe all this, they feel like their backs are against the wall, and that makes people very, very dangerous. That's just true of any ideology, true of any movement. So, hopefully we learn the correct lessons from this, where we actually view this issue, in it how it's actually meant to be, where it's like, no, you're not a gender that you're not actually, that you actually are, right? You are, correct. Boys are boys, girls are girls.
I just want to repeat
yeah.
We got to go. But every time you see NBC, I want you to remember, everybody in the audience, NBC apologized that they used the wrong gender of a mass murdering maniac. Julio, great work. Julio Rosas. We need a salary cap in baseball, a fun segment after the break.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is, holy
words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger. This is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Don't you hate that dirty old hose? It kinks, splits, and it always leaks. And it's way too heavy to carry around. It's time to get the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead. Just turn on the water and watch it grow to a full-size hose. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the new Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees. Just connect to the spigot and watch it pivot. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking back to a pocket-size hose. And it makes it easy to carry and put away. Call or go online now to get the super light 25-foot Pocket Hose Copperhead today for only $29.99. Order right now and get our 10-pattern thumb drive spray nozzle free. Simply use your thumb to turn it on or off. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. So call 1-800-956-8517 or visit getcopperhead.com. Order now.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. We're keeping an eye on the White House as President Trump is expected to make a major announcement here in the next 30 minutes or so. Today's announcement comes on the heels of the president promising an executive order aimed at securing the nation's elections. Taking to Truth Social over the weekend, 47 promising an EO that would require voter identification in every single election, quote, no exceptions. He's also reiterating his previous push to end mail-in voting except in limited circumstances. Plus, the president is pushing for the use of paper ballots only. The president's executive order is expected to happen before next year's midterm elections. However, it's not clear whether the order can be constitutionally enacted since elections are typically administered and regulated at the state level. Summer is unofficially over now that we've celebrated Labor Day. And while outdoor pools across the country are either closed or closing, many Americans will still take advantage of the beach as long as the weather allows. Well, you may want to beware if you're headed to the beach because environmentalists with the group Environment America claim that well over half, 61% of coastal and Great Lakes beaches tested positive for fecal contamination that exceeded safety standards. That's hundreds of beaches, literally from coast to coast.
Waste, either animal waste or human waste, contains pathogens, parasites, viruses of various kinds that can make us sick. We're talking about nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, skin rashes, ear infections, and the like. Hardly anybody's idea of how to.
Many beachgoers report little concern about poopy beaches and the potential impact on their health and safety. Well, that's a quick check of your headlines. As always, we appreciate having you along for the ride. I'm Terrence Bates. Now, let's get you back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Relentless in spirit. You're listening to The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, everybody, I want to tell you about America's greatest college. I was taking one of their courses over this weekend, and it will enrich your life. It's Hillsdale College, charlieforhillsdale.com. History, economics, the great works of literature. Did you study these things in school? Probably not. Even if you did, maybe it's time for an enjoyable refresher. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses, including their newest course on totalitarian novels. You guys could take their Declaration of Independence course, their Constitution course. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com. That's CHARLIE for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com to register. More importantly, they show us that faith, family, and friends are worth fighting for. Their American history course, their Constitution 101 course, they're all life-changing. So I think you'll really enjoy it. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com. That's CHARLIE for Hillsdale.com. Again, they are America's greatest college. I think the world of Dr. Larry Arnn. He was a phenomenal guest last week on our program. So check it out right now, charlieforhillsdale.com. Okay, everybody. Yesterday, the Chicago Cubs walked off against the Atlanta Braves in extra innings. By the way, I don't like these new extra inning rules. I'm sorry. I don't like this whole you get a runner on second base. The whole thing feels just like, I don't know. We can debate that another time. Not a fan. Anyway, we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss hopefully the push for a salary cap and a floor. And joining us now is Paul Zeese. I think I pronounced that correctly. Apologies if I didn't. Paul, sports columnist for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Paul, great to see you. Paul, you had a really impactful piece here about how Tony Clark and the MLBPA are steering their members down the wrong path. I think it's time for a salary cap in baseball. What do you say, sir? Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me, number one. Number two, I think that what's going to happen is guys like you and I are going to continue to wishfully think there's going to be a salary cap in baseball. But as long as the super agents run the league, which they do, I don't care what anybody says, the super agents, the Scott Borases of the world, they run the league and they run the Major League Players Association. And so therefore, it's going to be really, really difficult for anybody to actually make any progress on a salary cap. And we can get into a lot of other reasons why, including the fact that the owners really don't want it for different reasons.
Yeah, well, let's start with the fan experience. Why would this be better from a holistic improving baseball reason? Why would a salary cap improve the experience? I have my own opinions. I'm tired of seeing the same 4, 5, 6 teams obviously generate the higher output because of how much they spend. The Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, and not even the Cubs are not even spending like they did in 2016. Let's put the super agents aside because I do want to get into that. Why would a salary cap be good for baseball?
Well, I think you can just point to other sports, right? We just saw the NBA Finals included the Indianapolis or the Indiana Pacers, and I think that's maybe the smallest or the second smallest market in the league. Oklahoma City's not a very large market, and they were there. San Antonio's won 4 or 5 titles over the course of time. You look at football, Kansas City, right here, the Pittsburgh Steelers. If there wasn't a salary cap in football, the Pittsburgh Steelers would probably be the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that just struggles to survive. So, in general, I'm a very libertarian person, and, I believe in the free market. But I think in sports, the leagues are one entity unto themselves. And for competitive reasons and for, reasons of actually being marketable and selling the sport, you want to have the ability, if you're in a small market, to know that your team is going to have a chance to maybe compete if they do it right. Now, the thing we have here in Pittsburgh is we have the double whammy. In Pittsburgh, we've got a small market and we've got an incompetent owner. So it makes up for itself. And, the fact is, and the owner has made up for it by hiring an even more incompetent general manager. But if you're a team like, Tampa or Milwaukee or some of these teams that have sort of figured it out a little bit, it's so important. You've got to hit lightning in a bottle with your draft choices and how you develop just to have a chance. And then, you get to a point where you build your team and then, the Dodgers go out and sign, somebody, or the Yankees go out and sign somebody. And now all of a sudden you're back sort of to square one. So to me, I think when it comes to the fan experience, someone like me, and listen, the other league, it would be the Kansas City Penguins or somebody. Kansas City would be the ones that would be enjoying Sidney Crosby if there wasn't a salary cap in the NHL. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. So as somebody that's from a smaller market, I see it from this side. And I see that basically other sports have figured it out, and their small market teams aren't really small market because of revenue sharing and their salary cap give them a chance.
Yeah, and so you look at football. Football has a hard cap, like very, very hard cap. And the penalty for even playing around with it is the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the New Orleans Saints will be lucky to win 2 or 3 games this year. And so the penalty for even playing games with deferments and stuff is aggressive. To your very astute point, there's a reason why a mid-market team like the Kansas City Chiefs are competitive, because they have the same salary cap as the New York Giants or as the Los Angeles Rams. And so they draft Mahomes, they get a good coach, they develop a team, and now they have a dynasty. The same can be said for the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. There's complete parity. And so, in fact, I think that baseball would get bigger with a salary cap. I think it would be more exciting that actually the value of these teams, these owners should want a salary cap. Who's fighting against it?
Well, again, there's a couple of groups that are fighting against it. One is obviously the super agents. Obviously, they don't want it because they want to be able to get, Ohtani a $700 million deal, or Juan Soto, what did he get? Another $650 or $700 or whatever he got. They want, obviously, to get those big deals for the superstars. But here's the other thing, okay? The small market teams don't want it because then they would be forced to spend more money because there would be a salary floor. But the other part of it is, one of the trade-offs that would happen for a salary cap, I guarantee, is that, you know what, the Major League Baseball Players Association, assuming they're competent, which that's probably a big assumption, but they would fight for, okay, well, listen, we'll give you a salary cap, but all of that cheap labor you get for 4 or 5, 6 years at the beginning of these guys' careers, we're not doing that anymore. So a guy like Paul Skeens, who, is probably the best pitcher in baseball, probably if he wasn't on the worst team or one of the worst teams would win the Cy Young. He might win it anyway, but he's pitching for $850,000 this year. And that's a part of the problem when it comes to the front end of it. And it's a negotiating piece. But the small market owners, here in Pittsburgh, boy, they love the pre-arbitration and arbitration. So they're willing to sit back and say, well, we don't have to spend any amount of money really because there's no salary floor. The large market teams obviously don't want a salary cap because they want to be able to spend whatever they want to spend, because their argument is, hey, this is a star-driven town here and this is a star-driven team. We have to have stars. So it's kind of one of those things where there's 3 sides that all claim they would like to make a salary cap work, but really deep down, they don't. They don't want it to work. And I think it's very short-sighted for a lot of the reasons we talked about. And Charlie, let me just say this. I went through it. The highest paid players in sports are not baseball players.
That's right.
And the other part of it is, that's per year, and it's even total contracts. The way the NBA does their salary cap is you have an exception. You can go above the salary cap for your own free agents. And also there's some veteran exceptions. The bottom line is veteran guys don't get the host job. The mid-level veteran guys are the ones in baseball who, if you notice, Charlie, every year, like at the end of March, there's about 20 or 30 of these guys that are still out there. And you're like, why hasn't anyone signed them? Well, because they know, what, we're going to wait till they're desperate for a job and we'll give them, we'll give them a contract they have to take.
So first of all, it's a phenomenal analysis. I agree with all of it. And what we have right now is a spending spree. Of course, the same 5 or 6 teams, whether it be the Yankees or the Mets, and you have these super agents, Scott Boras being one of them, who is able to represent some of these big players and obviously is heavily incentivized with the current model. And some people say, well, it's the only sport with a true market where talent can be valued without outside restrictions. But again, to your point, the NFL is able to make this work. But let's also add, why does a floor also matter as much as a cap?
Well, I think, a couple of things. Number one, because, you won't have teams like, the Pirates the last few years with a $40 or $50 million payroll. That would actually help the MLBA Players Association, mid-level veterans, if teams like the Pirates actually had to spend, say, $100 million. Then all of a sudden, those mid-level veterans would be able to get paid and get a little bit of money. And I think the other part of it is it ensures that teams are trying to be competitive. I mean, that doesn't mean in the NFL or, in the NBA, you don't have teams that are really bad, but a lot of times it's cyclical, or it's just a matter of, incompetent ownership, like the Jets or, one of these teams that always seems to lose. It's not because they can't compete. I don't even think it's because they're not trying to compete. I just think they have no idea what they're doing. And I think that when you look at a salary floor, now everybody has at least everybody's sort of in the same ball game. I mean, it's insane to me that in baseball, what is it? I think it's the Mets maybe this year might even have the highest payroll. The Dodgers, one of them's got like a $300 million payroll, and you got teams with $30 or $40 million payrolls. You're not even playing in the same sport at that point.
It's such a good point.
It's just silly.
Okay, so then what would the path forward need to be? I mean, to get something like this done? I mean, getting Congress involved is next to nothing, but what would a path forward potentially be to get a salary cap into place?
Well, I mean, Charlie, you understand unions are, theoretically run by players. And what it would take is it would take basically all of those mid-level veterans and even a lot of the pre-arbitration and arbitration players in the next collective bargaining agreement to say, listen, this is what we want. You need to help us out. You're not helping us. You're only helping, the Juan Sotos of the world. And here's the other thing, Charlie, the idea that, with no salary cap, there's a free market. It really isn't, because there's only about 5 or 6 teams that can actually afford to sign these guys, and they can't sign them all. So the bottom line is there's a lot of guys that are probably going to have to take lesser than market because, there's not that many teams that can shell out $500 or $600 million. But it's going to take all the mid-level veterans, and it's going to, the guys that are arbitration and even pre-arbitration guys at the next collective bargaining agreement, basically to sit down and say, listen, we're not doing anything unless you are going to put something in this to help us. And I'll go, here. I worked way back in a different life. I worked at the NBA during one of the lockouts, and it took all these guys basically settle with us because they want to get paid.
Paul, stay right there. 10 seconds. Let's go to the break so we can say goodbye properly. Stay right there.
Picture this, your power just went out. It's 98 degrees, temperature's rising, and you've got no AC. Just a fridge full of food slowly spoiling. And your phone, it's probably half charged, isn't it? But this time you're ready. See, with the Patriot Power Generator 2500X from 4 Patriots, it's solar powered, it's fume free, and it's portable. And this month only, you get a free expansion pack to double your power and your peace of mind. No gas, no noise, just power when you need it most. So go to 4patriots.com and take your power back before the next blackout hits.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
That is AmericanComebackTour.com, AmericanComebackTour.com. You guys could check it out. And I'll tell you, I'm going to get the exact dates here. The schedule is as follows. Next week, we are doing Utah Valley State University in Orem, Utah. So for all my Utah friends, that is next week. Week after that, we'll be going to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado. And then we'll be going to Mogadishu, University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. September 24th, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. And then September 30th at Utah Valley State University. Now, there's a lot more soon to be announced. We got logistics, paperwork, administrative stuff. We got to work with these universities. So that's just a little bit of a little teaser, just a little appetizer. AmericanComebackTour.com. I would love to see you on the road. AmericanComebackTour.com. Stay right there. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. You have a lot of choices for cell phone service with new ones popping up all the time, but here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that is Patriot Mobile. The good news is that you could switch to Patriot Mobile today without sacrificing quality or service. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie. If you're worried about service, don't worry. Patriot Mobile uses all 3 major U.S. networks. If you have service in this country today, you'll have as good or better service today with Patriot Mobile. If you think switching is a hassle, it's not. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based customer service team will get you activated in minutes. Stuck in a contract or owe money on your phones? No worries. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Charlie and get a free month of service. Switch today. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie, patriotmobile.com/Charlie. We need to ask ourselves the question, is it making our country better or worse? You see, the left likes to overcomplicate. They like to dodge. They like to shift. We need to ask ourselves the question, is it making our nation better or worse? Now, mind you, embedded in that question, you must have an agreed upon good. This is just very basic logic. How can you know if something is better or worse if you don't know what you're aiming towards? Remember, we talked about the telos. If you don't know what you're aiming towards or you're pointing towards, how can something be better or good? Because definitionally, those things are markers upon a spectrum. You see, the left, they look at this and they say this is good. We look at this and say this is bad because we have different markers and different aims, and that is the kicker. What divides the left and the right is not simply values and morals. We want different things. We have different goals. We have different endpoints. Nearly 90% of women in France who use public transportation claim to have been harassed by migrants brought into France by people like Macron. Play cut 330.
Les transports en commun, près de 90% des femmes affirment avoir déjà été victimes de harcèlement. Alors pour tenter d'échapper à ces regards ou gestes déplacés, une technique est mise en avant sur les réseaux sociaux.
Don't forget your subway shirt.
Le subway shirt, en français, chemise de métro. Le principe, porter des vêtements amples pour cacher une tenue estivale.
Je fais comme ça, hop, dans le métro. Dans le métro, on se rhabille. Des fois, je prends même le pantalon et le sweat que je mets par-dessus ma robe.
Une défense adoptée par de nombreuses Parisiennes, victimes de mauvaises expériences.
Okay, well, 5 people understood that. So let me tell you what that was. The essence of this is they said, hey, 90% of women on public transport claim to have been harassed, so you have to wear your subway shirt when you go on the subway because your summer outfit is too alluring to a third world migrant population, and they so badly want to grope you, and they have no impulse control. The third world has low impulse control, and they see a French woman in the summer, and they have to grope you, and they have to grab you. Is that making France better or worse? Well, the left, they'll say it's better. It's closer towards their aim because, remember, allowing people to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it is a left-wing goal. It is an aim. You're free of your inhibitions. Be able to grope the woman, urinate on the bus. You should be able to walk around naked. Seattle is a little bit of a precursor to this. No clothes, no rules, drugs on the side of the streets, total sexual anarchy, total depraved anarchy. You know, people made fun of me when I said sexual anarchy a couple years ago. I think that thing aged like a fine French wine. Wouldn't you say, Mr. Macron? What do you want? And then from there, you could judge whether things make better or worse. And right now, you look at Europe, the Islamist invasion brought to you by the secular humanist European technocratic elites is making Europe worse. It's making Europe dirtier. It's making Europe less safe. It has no cultural identity. It's decaying and collapsing as a nation. There's no European identity left whatsoever. And the worst part of it is that it's invited. Islamism has a tendency to take over and metastasize like a cancer. Immigration without assimilation is invasion, and Islam does not assimilate. Islam conquers. Islam takes over. Islam devours. Islam is an imperialistic, parasitic ideology. Islam views itself as a conquering faith. You have to pray 5 times a day, pointing towards a separate nation, pledging fealty to another nation. Islam's own self-story is that we will take you over. It's totalitarianism, masked as a religion. God bless you guys. See you tomorrow.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5. It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 super hot steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is in the hospital after a car crash in New Hampshire.
The 81-year-old was actually helping a domestic violence victim in a situation. She flagged him down, and Mayor Giuliani waited on scene and called for help. He stayed there until police arrived, and then that crash happened shortly after.
President Trump said he's awarding the former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani in the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And you can see this post here on Live Now from Fox from the White House on this Monday, saying, as President of the United States of America, I am pleased to announce that Rudy Giuliani, the greatest mayor in the history of New York City and an equally great American patriot, will receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
President Trump praised the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, on social media for cooperating with him as he deployed National Guard troops to D.C. streets in recent weeks, declaring the nation's capital crime-free. The president urged other city leaders to work with the administration. The president's post comes as the White House looks to send federal troops to a number of other cities, including Chicago.
Russia launched 537 drones and decoys and 45 missiles overnight. Ukraine's Air Force says they managed to neutralize most of them. Meanwhile, Ukraine struck back, hitting 2 Russian oil refineries. Zelensky wrote on X, a quote, "It is absolutely clear that Moscow used the time meant for preparing a leaders-level meeting to organize new massive attacks." But the Kremlin claims they remain interested in continuing peace talks.
And Donald Trump has escalated his criticism of India, calling the bilateral trade relationship a one-sided disaster. He also claimed that India has agreed to offer no tariffs on U.S. goods, but it's too late.
United against Trump, leaders from some of the world's largest powers right now joining forces to take on the White House. Russia's Vladimir Putin shaking hands and laughing with Chinese President Xi Jinping and India's Prime Minister Modi, at one point even holding hands with Modi. The show of unity in China clearly designed to send a message to Trump and what she calls his, quote, bullying practices.
All right, Jack Posobiec, here we are live, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Today is September the 2nd, 2025, Anno Domini. Well, folks, we're here in Washington, D.C. President Trump has announced, or I should say he is planning to make an announcement, a proclamation from the Oval Office. Here just in a couple of minutes, we're waiting, and Human Events Daily and Real America's Voice, thanks to their great support, will be able to provide that to you the minute that he goes live. We were told 2 p.m., so we are currently in a holding pattern waiting for the president to make that announcement. We've got Brian Glenn on the scene at the White House, so we'll go directly to that announcement. We'll take it live as it happens. We'll bring on Brian for his reaction. We're not sure what the parameters are, the guidelines, whether or not he'll be in the Oval Office or whether the president will be taking questions as he does at times. But of course, as it is with President Trump, expect the unexpected, because you never know exactly which way he's going to go on one of these things. So we will see. From what I've heard going around is that it's expected to be on defense. So it certainly could have to do with this report from John Solomon over at Just the News that the Space Command is going to be moving from Colorado to Alabama, which of course, Huntsville, known as Rocket City, of course, going all the way back to the Halcyon days of Werner von Braun and Redstone Arsenal, Operation Paperclip, and building those rockets that were able to take the Apollo mission all the way to the moon. So we'll see. If it has to do with that, maybe Department of War could potentially be something. We know the president has been talking about that recently. I've also heard from within the admin that that is definitely something they're moving forward on, not idle talk. Over the weekend, and continuing now, all eyes on Red China, as President Trump recently held a series of meetings with world leaders, including Anchorage, Alaska, the Anchorage Accords, where he met with President Vladimir Putin, then going to Washington, D.C., bringing in the coalition of the willing, all of those world leaders to the White House. But now Xi Jinping is answering back, in a sense. Today, the 80th anniversary of the surrender of the Japanese in World War II, China taking a victory lap which is very interesting because, of course, the Chinese Communist Party did not defeat the Japanese in World War II. It was not the communists that beat the Japanese. They didn't even fight the Japanese. It was mainly the nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek. Then Mao came over and took over China. But of course, don't tell that to the CCP. So now you've got Xi Jinping, Modi, the head of India, and Vladimir Putin seeking to put together a super integration of the world island. You're seeing a super integration of the world island. China, India, Russia, some of the world's oldest civilization states are now joining together at the hip. The United States, through policies pursued by past administrations, have pushed all of these together. So now they have a parallel series of institutions from NATO and from the G7. We now have the BRICS and the SCO. And the question, of course, whether or not anyone is going to continue buying Russian oil, well, just go look at that picture right now. Russia just inked a new deal for oil sales to India and is signing, in the process of signing, a $10 billion oil pipeline from Siberia all the way through Mongolia to Beijing. So look at this. Xi Jinping meeting with Modi. He called it, "It is time for the dance of the elephant and the dragon." Well, here at Human Events Daily, we're going to walk you through all the steps of that dance and perhaps, just perhaps, see if there's a way for the United States of America to cut in. Right back here on Real America's Voice.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help Rush, a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Stand in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means. Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, Jack Posobiec, here we are back live, Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Of course, we're keeping an eye on the White House. We know President Trump's announcement may be imminent. And so we're going to cut in with that as soon as it comes out. We also saw there was that video going around of objects being thrown from the top windows, the top floor of the White House. And I'm not sure exactly what that was. Probably just some routine maintenance, or who knows. Perhaps all I can say is we warned you what happens to black pillars. Folks, did you know that in the last 6 weeks, 86 million AT&T users had their name, address, and social security numbers leaked? Or that the CCP is harvesting massive volumes of Americans' personal data to train DeepSeek and other AI programs? When you're online doing the work like I am, you need digital camouflage. And that's why I've partnered with our newest show sponsor, Patriot Protect. Patriot Protect removes your personal data from the internet. Whether it's Google, Amazon, or Apple, your personal data will be wiped so that the scammers and cyber criminals and swatters, like the ones who tried to come after the Poso family, will not and cannot find your data, and you can take back your security and privacy. Once Patriot Protect scans and scrubs your personal information, they'll continuously monitor your info to make sure every new instance of a possible data breach is eliminated immediately. I'm talking 24/7 protection for the cost of keeping the porch lights on. The only thing worse than getting hacked is knowing you could have stopped it and didn't take action when you could have. So go to patriot-protect.com/POSO and use promo code POSO for 15% off a yearly subscription. That's patriot-protect.com/POSO and use promo code POSO for a 15% off on a yearly subscription. Again, patriot-protect.com/POSO. This stuff is really good. I use their services myself. I have family members that use it. It's really great. I really, really recommend you try this out, Patriot Protect. So check them out, Patriot Protect. You're really going to like this. Well, folks, as we wait for President Trump and this announcement that's coming soon, you have people asking, does this have to do with the meeting with Xi, with Vladimir Putin, with Modi? Remains to be seen. But what we're seeing now when we look at these world leaders get together, we're seeing the combination of the world's land powers versus the world's sea powers. What do I mean by this? Well, if you look at the Anglo-American Empire, so go back in time. The British Empire was a sea-based empire. The United States has been predominantly, when it comes to power projection over the world stage, a sea-based empire. And by that, I mean it's the United States that maintains freedom of navigation. It's the United States that maintains the laws of the sea, that maintains the free trade lines. People say, oh, we have free trade. Well, what's backing all that up? It's the United States Navy. The ability of the United States Navy to reach out and touch someone anywhere around the world. So that's always been where America's power has come from, this commerce. But the land powers of the world are these other nations, the great land powers on the landmass of Eurasia, the world island, as Mackinder wrote. That is China, India, and Russia. And so how do you respond to sea power? Big land power. And in a pejorative sense, not non-pejorative sense. So when you're looking at all of this come together, BRICS and the SCO are meeting and putting together these structures to bring together their nations to push for a different system outside of the rules-based order, outside of sanctions, outside even of tariffs. So the threat of sanctions and tariffs doesn't come as strong because what are they going to do? Right? That's why the administration has been talking about secondary tariffs or even tertiary tariffs, because they're seeing that these mechanisms are already taking place as we speak. They're already in use as we speak. So Russian oil is being sold to India. India is then reselling that oil to Europe and other places. You've also got situations where different oil is going to Singapore. It's being reshipped. Those ships are putting it out under a different flag, but the ultimate source is still Russia. Now, what does the rise of China need? Well, just like Japan, the Japanese empire, which surrendered 80 years ago today on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, they need oil. So China didn't have oil, Japan didn't have oil. But one of the reasons that Japan even invaded China in the first place in the early 1930s, 1931, 1933, up through the Mukden incident and everything else that took place prior to the start of the European theater of war, is the reason that China had those resources that Japan needed. But at the same time, oil was always their critical element. And what did the United States cut off Japan from? Again, oil. So what do we say in international politics? We say on this program again and again and again, when it comes to a murder mystery, the French say, cherchez la femme, look for the woman. When it comes to international politics, cherchez le pétrole, follow the oil. So pipelines, the pipeline that Western Europe had between Germany and Russia was destroyed. What eventually happened? We never got a full answer on that, by the way. But what eventually happened? Well, the German economy cratered because Germany's industrial base, all that manufacturing that comes out of Germany. And of course, we know Germany has the best engineers of the world. The cars, the planes, the watches, all right? Obviously. Of course, the problem with the Germans when they start applying all that engineering to, people and human beings, then they get a little over their skis. But that is all predicated on cheap inputs from energy coming from Russia. Now that they've lost that, they've also seemingly lost the ability to get that. So what is Moscow doing? Moscow is turning east. And they're turning east towards where? Beijing and India. Because they know that Beijing and India, their rises are going to be fueled by this, again, cheap oil. And having that direct pipeline to China, of course, China can certainly purchase it. India as well, getting those oil shipments in. This is why, by the way, one of the new trade sectors that's being built up through the continent itself is there's this whole northern trade corridor that's being built between, listen to this, Russia, India, and Iran. So Russia, India, and Iran, so really going to Persia now, the Persian Empire, some of the oldest civilizations in the world, they're creating a land corridor that would take you outside of the ability for U.S. and U.S. sanctions to have any input on that at all. So if they can do all of this over land, then suddenly, now it is going to be more expensive in the short term, but in the long term, they're going to have the ability to ship their goods, ship this oil, potentially completely skirting the sea power, which has always been run by the United States of America. So that's what this is all about, folks. This was all about. And don't think for a second that Venezuela, being a major oil exporter in South America, is not the reason that the United States currently has this massive naval task force. It's not a blockade, naval task force outside putting pressure on the Maduro regime. So when we're talking about all this, we're talking about all the countries that were there. Now, Lula, interestingly, Brazil did not attend the conference, though he did participate in a Zoom call. That was something that was found over the weekend. So Lula himself didn't come from Brazil up to the SCO. And tonight, the big night, which is going to be morning Beijing time, that's when this quote-unquote victory parade is going to be taking place in Beijing, and it's going to be attended by Putin. It's going to be visited by Modi, although Modi is not going to be sitting in the dais there. And, of course, Xi Jinping. I'm also told, I've just seen the footage, a train has just pulled into Beijing all the way across from Pyongyang. So who's going to join the party? Kim Jong-un has just arrived. Famously does not fly, just like his father, but Kim Jong-un has just come up from Pyongyang to Beijing himself. He will be there in attendance at that meeting. So you're really going to have the heavy hitters of Asia, the world island, all sitting there together and conducting a super integration of the new bloc. And it's very interesting to see that we may be in a situation, we may already be in a situation where a new Cold War has begun between the United States and many of the nations that we were in a Cold War with in the first place, be that Putin, be that Xi Jinping. All of this begs the question, what's going to happen on the ground in Ukraine? Because as we're prosecuting this war, and make no mistake, the United States is currently engaged in a proxy war through NATO in Ukraine against Russia. This has been something that the war establishment has wanted for a long time. This has been something that certain generations, older generations, have wanted for a long time. Take the fight to the Russians, this war that with the Soviet Union that they never got, even though the Soviet Union fell in 1991. And unfortunately, you're in a situation where the Ukrainian people have been caught in the middle. Now, bilateral meeting, President Trump says that's out. So this meeting that was talked about at one point between Zelensky and Putin, that's out. The trilateral meeting, now the Russians are even starting to put cold water on that because Peskov, the spokesman for the Kremlin, has come out and said, wait a minute, we never agreed to anything. We came to an understanding that perhaps we'd like to have a meeting between President Trump, President Zelensky, and Putin, but we never agreed to any meeting. So they're throwing cold water on that as well. And it remains to be seen. Can the United States rebalance this, or is the bear already out of the barn and you can't get him back in there? I guess the bear gets out of a cave. Let's go with the bear goes out of the cave. The bear's already out of the cave, and he's headed directly towards dancing with the dragon and the elephant. And of course, we saw President Trump over the weekend putting pressure on India. And I think there's a lot more pressure we can put on India. Call that tariff the remote workers, tariff the call centers. I'm sick of the spam calls on my phone, folks. I want them stopped, and we can do so with that beautiful word, tariffs. Right back, Jack Posobiec, Human Events Daily.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing. There's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the Easy Well Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
You talk about influencers. These are influencers. And they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, who's done a great job.
All right, Jack Posobiec, here we are back live, Human Events Daily. Folks, My Patriot Supply is a great partner of ours. We've really been working with them for years. I want to remind you to go and support them, support our sponsors, help us keep the lights on around here, help us be able to do the reporting that we've been doing, both here on the show, when we go to the White House, we've been giving you that direct access, and then also all around the world. Folks, September is National Preparedness Month. So it's the perfect time to ask yourself some questions like, how much food do you have on hand for emergencies? How would you get clean water if the tap went dry tomorrow? What would you do if a storm knocked out the power for a week? Well, if you're anything like me, you've got some room for improvement on this stuff. Luckily, our friends at My Patriot Supply are making disaster preparedness easier and more affordable than ever by giving you over $1,500 worth of emergency food and preparedness gear for free. They just launched their Preparedness Month Mega Kit, and it includes a full year of emergency food and a water filtration system that can purify almost any source, a solar backup generator, and a lot more. Here's the best part. If you go to mypatriotsupply.com/Jack, you can get 90 preparedness essentials totaling over $1,500 absolutely free. Head to mypatriotsupply.com/Jack for full details. That's mypatriotsupply.com/Jack. So I mentioned this in the last segment. I'm going to carry this over now because we're still looking to see the word, by the way, I just got from out of the White House is that everyone is standing by. They are in a holding pattern. They have not been called into the Oval Office yet for that announcement to take place. Again, we are going to take that live as soon as it starts, when it starts, here on Real America's Voice. But currently, everyone is in a holding pattern, so they are standing by. Just stand by, as we used to say in the military. Look, folks, I mentioned this last segment. I'll bring it forward here again. Tariff the call centers. So I got into it over this weekend. I had a series of tweets up. Not the first time I mentioned it, not the first time I mentioned it on the show, but I bring it again because President Trump was talking about the imbalance of trade that the United States has with India. And he was talking about the balance of trade in goods. And I wanted to go a step further and say, well, hold on a second, because there is something that the United States imports in a sense from India, but it's called services. Now, the services that we import are different. They function differently than goods that are imported because they're jobs, essentially. It's actually outsourcing. So the outflow of productivity and wealth from our country is given to India, and by the way, it's not just India, but yeah, that's where President Trump was talking about. You see this with the Philippines, you see this with a lot of other countries where you have these, Vietnam, China in some instances, but I think those are some of the biggest ones where you have this remote work situation. And my good friend Still Boneless had a pretty viral tweet about this where he and a number of people have had to outsource or train essentially their replacements over in the tech space, train their own replacements over Zoom to then get their jobs. And what happens is they then come in for a fraction of the cost of an American worker. So yesterday was Labor Day, and I said, what better way to help American workers on Labor Day than tariff the foreign overseas workers, the foreign remote workers, and the foreign call centers. And by the way, if President Trump was actually able to stop those spam calls that we get every day, which I think we all know are generally scammers from overseas, then I'm telling you something, if he wanted to run in 2028, 2032, Americans would demand that he run because that's how much people hate those things. This is something where, it goes beyond economics, where people are just sick of calling into a call center and the person that you're not speaking to is an American. We have so many people that are either they're full-time parents, or they're work from home, or they have the ability to stay home. We have so many people that are underemployed. It's so easy for them to work. I know someone who used to do this, to be able to work one of those jobs. So you can just talk to somebody who has a little bit of empathy for an American and actually understand what they're going through. And I know what it's like when you're on the phone dealing with customer service, when you actually connect with someone that you know is an American and you don't have to ask them like, hey, what's the weather like over there in Bangalore or something, that they know exactly what you're dealing with and they know exactly what you're going through. It just makes everything go so much easier. It makes everything go so much easier. So this has been an issue, though, in the tech space and many other spaces for a long time. And certainly when tariffs first came up, this was not something technologically that was possible. But at the same time, I got a lot of pushback, and people are saying, oh, you can't do that. You can't tariff the call centers. Well, first of all, Jack, a tariff is on a good. These aren't goods, they're services. I'm like, guys, the Constitution says very clearly that the government has the ability to regulate foreign commerce. It doesn't say just goods. It says all foreign commerce. And levies, duties, imports. The problem is you have these people who are word thinkers and they can't think beyond just that specific word. Okay, call it whatever you want. I don't care what you call it. The point is there's going to be a levy on this. The point is that you can't screw the American worker anymore by having people like my friend and others to go and train people who are going to be their own replacements that aren't even on this continent. I'm sorry. It's a loophole and it's a backdoor, and the American workers have been getting screwed for a long, long time through this. It's done. So throw a tax on that, whatever you want to call it, and we're done with it. We're sick of these companies being able to go in and use this foreign labor to force them to compete with Americans. We're done. And got to say, the great Dr. Peter Navarro retweeted what I was saying about this tariff the call center. So we'll see, folks. We'll see whether or not this idea gets some traction. I think it's something that would absolutely help the American worker. It's absolutely something that's going to, and remember, this keeps the money, it keeps revenues in this country. And by the way, people say, but Jack, what about the remittances? Oh, absolutely. Tax all the remittances. Why do we even allow remittances in the first place, I ask you? This is the America First policy. You keep the money home, you keep the money spent here in our country, and you prevent it from going overseas, making those countries rich while we continue to provide for the wealth, the financial well-being of our people and our communities. That's why we're getting hollowed out. It's because all of our money going into pockets like those of the Chinese Communist Party. Right back, Jack Posobiec, Real America's Voice.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home. So we applied it to his under eye bags. And let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view. And now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm. Please send me more. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger. This is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
Where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back. Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. Still checking out this announcement, President Trump, this military announcement, more than likely going to be on Space Command. We were talking about it earlier in the show. Who knows? Are they going to call it the Von Braun Center down there in Huntsville? They call that place Rocket City for a reason. I think it's got the highest amount of rocket scientists per capita in that city. Got a good friend who lives down in that area on the Tennessee side. So who knows? Perhaps I'll be able to stop down. But folks, before we go into all that, and if President Trump does come live, we'll cut in. I wanted to get a story up on something we've been talking about, and certainly I've been talking about it a lot since it happened last week, this horrific shooting in Minneapolis regarding the attack on a Catholic school, the deaths of 2 Catholic children, the fact that we have Christian martyrs, child martyrs, now on American soil. This wasn't something that happened in some far-flung third world country. This happened right here on our own shores. And yet it seems as though the leaders of the church are acting as if it was a tragedy, just some terrible, sad thing that happened, but perhaps unavoidable. Pray for it, but let's not talk about who perpetrated this attack when we know that it was a radical trans extremist who conducted this attack. This is not the first time that we've seen a trans extremist shoot up a Christian school. And these things are going to continue until they are stopped. That is why I've called for a federal unit to be set up at the law enforcement level, focusing on radical trans extremism. And here's a and there's an incredible story that came out last week. I mentioned this when I was guest hosting on Timcast, but we've actually got the person who broke the story. It's journalist Mary Margaret Olahan. She's the White House correspondent for Daily Wire. She joins us now. Mary Margaret, how are you?
I'm good, Jack. Thanks for having me.
So walk us through this story that you found that Catholic leaders had been warning Tim Walz, of all people, the governor of Minnesota. He ran for vice president just last year. They were warning him about the lack of adequate security at Catholic schools, and he did nothing.
Exactly. So we were paying a lot of attention to these trans-identifying school shooters for quite some time now because, as I'm sure you know, Jack, Daily Wire is based in Nashville, where a tragic shooting also took place at Covenant Christian School several years ago. And that shooter also identified as transgender. It was a woman who identified as a guy. She shot and killed a number of students in a really tragic day. And after this shooting took place, there were Catholic school leaders, but also independent school leaders and others based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, who reached out to leaders in Minnesota, specifically Tim Walz, and said, look, we have concerns about serious safety threats in our state. We're seeing a lot of threats to Christian or Jewish or Muslim schools, and we're not covered by the public the state funding that would go into an initiative that Walz was proposing and lawmakers were proposing to protect schools. So they specifically said, please help us. Even though we're not public schools, we still need to protect the kids. We need these safety measures. And they were asking Tim Walz to do this. We found this letter and we reported it last week. And of course, like a good journalist, I reached out to the leaders who sent the letter. One was the leader of the Minnesota Catholic Conference, and the other was the leader of basically independent schools in Minnesota. And I asked them both, were you helped? Did Tim Walz help? Did he show interest in helping protect these really religious schools in the state? And what I found out from both of them was that no, ultimately they were not helped. They said that Tim Walz spoke with them, expressed an interest in protecting kids in these schools because, and you know, who would not want to protect children who are in such a vulnerable position, but ultimately nothing was done. And so finding this letter on the heels of this tragic shooting in Minneapolis, where this gunman slaughtered children as they prayed in a Catholic school mass. As a Catholic, that just, it broke me, Jack, as I'm sure it broke you and many, many other people across the country who, we know what a sacred space Mass is. We know what a sacred space it is for these children who are praying to God and in such a vulnerable position. And so to know that Tim Walz could have done something to help these schools, he knew that they were anxious about security threats and ultimately did not, is a truly devastating thing to learn.
This is crazy because you look at all the rhetoric out of Tim Walz talking about how we need to protect the trans community, protect the Somalian community, our beloved Somalian community here in Minnesota, make sure they're protected from the rhetoric, make sure they're protected from online, these boogeymen, these creatures. He's been running around all weekend saying that President of the United States is having a health issue, by the way. That's where his focus is. They just kind of act like these things don't happen. And yet, in reality, we have a situation where there were leaders of the schools. And by the way, and I was reading your article, there's 72,000 students. And we're talking about independent Catholic, Jewish, Christian, and Muslim nonprofit schools within Minnesota. And they're just not getting this same level of funding, which seems to be something that's like, guys, we could just take the politics out of all of this. This is a public safety issue. There are children involved. I don't see what the political issue is. How is this a partisan thing?
Right. Well, and we know, Jack, that Tim Walz and his wife have a long history of promoting transgender ideology in schools. Yes. I wrote about this when he was running with Kamala Harris and took a closer look at some of the things they had pushed. They had very close relationships with younger students who it seems like they really encouraged in their gender dysphoria. There was one story we wrote about them taking a younger student who was struggling with their gender identity to a concert. And a lot of this has been portrayed as Tim Walz and his wife just being strong advocates in the transgender community. And at the same time that Tim Walz was not helping to protect these schools, the same year, he actually promoted transgenderism even more, making Minnesota, I believe, a trans refuge state, and promoting this idea that gender, when a child is struggling with their gender, it will make them happier and safer and healthier to undergo so-called gender-affirming care, which we know and most of the country understands is a lie, that it will not make you happier to go on testosterone or estrogen and pump your body full of foreign hormones, or to undergo very invasive top surgery or bottom surgery, expensive surgeries that will cost you literally an arm and a leg. They will cost you emotionally for years to come, and you will be a hospital patient for the rest of your life. And yet this is the narrative that's being pushed on these young people. And over again, we're seeing this happen. I actually have a story that's about to go up on Daily Wire.
I was going to say, you're not, I was going to say, you're being too modest. You wrote a whole book about this.
I did write a whole book about this. It's very nice of you to bring it up. It's called Detrans: True Stories of Escaping the Gender Ideology Cult. And I literally talked to people about why they went down this path. What were the factors in their background that caused them to be interested in pursuing this very morbid and depressing and scary path. Because to someone like you or I, just looking at what we're talking about here, it is morbid and scary, and in some aspects it's disgusting. But for these young people who are struggling with mental health issues, and by the way, always struggling with mental health issues, I have never talked to someone who tried to transition or who did transition who did not have mental health issues when they were exploring their gender identity. So across the board, these people have mental health issues, and they're told by doctors and therapists and school counselors that this will make them happy, that they'll be part of a group, they'll be part of a persecuted minority class, and they believe this. So someone like this shooter, as we have seen in his writings, in his diary or manifesto type journal that he was keeping, that he posted online in this really disturbing video, He had very serious mental health issues, very evident by his ramblings and gigglings and drawings in his book and his threats to kill the president and his hatred of Jewish people and Christians and children. Just obviously the rantings of a very mentally disturbed individual. And we also know that his mother signed off on his legal name change. There's been a lot of speculation about who was really at fault here, the mother or the father. I actually know someone that told me that they're vaguely acquainted with the mother and they believe that she was against him transitioning and didn't really know what to do about it. And I think Andy No, our fellow journalist, was writing about this and saying that was really the father that was pushing the shooter in this direction.
Quick break, Mary. Margaret will be right back. I was actually on War Room this morning and said the exact same thing to Steve Bannon. So the story is still coming out, and we got to follow the facts where they lay, folks. Right back, Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product. I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 Super Hot Steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Jack is a great guy. He's written a fantastic book. Everybody's talking about it. Go get it. And he's been my friend right from the beginning of this whole beautiful event. And we're going to turn it around and make our country great again. Amen.
All right, Jack Posobiec here. We are back. Human Events Daily, Washington, D.C. President Trump's announcement from the Oval Office, I'm told, is imminent. I'm also told that the press pool has been brought into the Oval Office. They're setting up. So if that comes and starts being, going live here in just a couple of... Oh, President Trump is live. We're taking it now.
To report that the U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right? But we had a lot of competition for this, and Alabama's getting it. Huntsville in particular. So congratulations, everybody. Katie, congratulations. This will result in more than 30,000 Alabama jobs and probably much more than that, and hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, and that's billions because it can't be millions, it's billions and billions of dollars. Most importantly, this decision will help America defend and dominate the high frontier, as they call it. I want to thank Secretary Pete Hegseth. He's doing a fantastic job. And Secretary of the Air Force Troy Mink. Troy, thank you very much. Great job you're doing, Troy. This is such a big deal. This is one that everybody wanted to know. What are you doing? I also want to thank Senators Katie Britt, and I want to give my condolences. Your grandmother, her grandmother just passed away. She was 100, right?
100, and she loves you, Mr. President.
Well, and she was very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Very, very proud of you. So thank you, Katie.
Wonderful woman.
She must have been. To produce you indirectly, I can tell you she had to be. Tommy Tuberville, who's a great coach. And I won't say anything about what happened with Alabama football this weekend.
Let's leave that out.
But you're not used to that, right? You're not used to that. But Tommy, Auburn won, that's right. They did. So you're happy. Tommy's been a great senator, as you know, and a fantastic guy all around. He was also a tremendous coach. House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers. Thank you, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike, thank you very much. Doing great, Mike. Representatives Barry Moore, all great friends, Robert Adderholt, Gary Palmer, and Dale Strong. Thank you all very much, fellas. Appreciate it. In my first term, I created a thing called Space Force, so important. You know, we were losing the race in space very badly to China and to Russia, and now we're far and away #1 in space, and reestablished Space Com with a mission to protect American space assets and detect any threat to our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the SpaceCom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration. And as you know, they moved them to a different locale. And today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this. And this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be. I will say I want to thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also. In Huntsville, SpaceCom will play a key role in building the Golden Dome, as you know. That's going to be a big thing. Everybody wants to be a participant in it. Missile Defense Shield, we're going to be having a Golden Dome that the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. The finest, the best. And by the way, Canada called. They want to be a part of it, and that'll be great. But Canada wants very much to be included in that, and then we're going to work something out with them, I hope. It will also ensure that our technological capabilities, of which we're way ahead of anybody else, there's nobody close, remain unmatched long into the future. So I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth to say a few words. He was very much a part of it. And really, everybody behind me was. Every one of these people would call me and lobby me. I said, Katie, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I know what you want. She said, that's right, sir. That's what I want. And they got their way. So I just want to congratulate. These are really special people. They're politicians in many ways, but they're great patriots, I think even more so than politicians. So they fought. It's an honor to give it to Huntsville. Pete, say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. As usual, right place, right time, for the right reason. In your first administration, you established the Space Force at a time when we knew we had to be looking to that domain of space. You also reestablished SpaceCom to ensure that priority was put in place, and you, through the Air Force, independently identified that Huntsville, Alabama was the right place to put it. For other reasons, in the next administration under Biden, they decided to move it somewhere else. Well, during that time, the DoD Inspector General, the Government Affairs Office, they did their own assessments, and where did they say SpaceCom should go? Huntsville, Alabama. So what you're doing today, Mr. President, is restoring it to precisely where it should be based on what the Space Force, the Air Force, your leadership believes will give us strategic advantage in the future. That is Huntsville, Alabama. We are way ahead in space, but this will ensure we stay leaps and bounds ahead because that's the most important domain. Whoever controls the skies will control the future of warfare. And Mr. President, today you're ensuring that happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Katie, would you like to say something?
Mr. President, we are grateful for your leadership on this and restoring Space Command to its rightful home in Huntsville, Alabama. This delegation has worked together, both chambers, both parties, to make sure that Huntsville was the place that Space Command called home. As was mentioned, obviously the Biden administration chose to make this political. What we want to do is put the safety and security of Americans first. We want to make sure that our warfighter is put first, and we want to make sure that America continues to lead. And today, Mr. President, you've allowed that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tommy, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great day for our country, not just for our state of Alabama. We need help in our military. We need to catch up. And as Secretary has said, we're not behind in space, but we know where we're at, and we need to expound on that. Now, this move will save the taxpayers $480 million. It's not going to cost more. It's going to cut $480 million. We have the plans intact. It'll be behind a secure wall in Huntsville, Alabama, at Redstone Arsenal. We have 40,000 people there. We have the FBI there. We have missile defense there. We have NASA, Blue Origin, and SpaceX. It is the perfect place for Space Command. I would tell you today, and I've spoke with the President for the last 3 or 4 years about this, if I thought it needed to go somewhere else because I understand the security of our country, I'd be for that. But the best place for Space Command is Huntsville, Alabama, because what we have and what it means to this country is going to be so important. So thank you, Mr. President, for this, and we look forward to building a huge Space Command and having the Donald J. Trump Space Command Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
Sure. Well, Mr. President, thank you. I'll be very brief here. I lobbied the president hard to put it in Ohio, but he said these people behind us, these Alabamas, are just too powerful and too persuasive. And so it's in Alabama, but as Tommy said, this is exactly the right place for Space Force and Space Command. I think Americans ought to appreciate the fact that you can't win the battle of the future unless you control the skies. The cyber security, the communications, the entire infrastructure of the battle in the 21st century will be in space. So it was a visionary move in the first administration for the president to set up Space Force, and I think an equally visionary move to make sure that Space Force is right where it should be in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, anybody want to say anything? Would you like to say?
Mr. President, another promise made, another promise kept. You think about it, Redstone Arsenal is critical to national security. The president said when you were the 45th president, let's do what's right for national security. And today, that's exactly what we're doing. It's not because of this or that. It's because it's right for national security. You think of the 21 categories that were evaluated to determine what was best for national security. All indicators pointed back to Huntsville, Alabama, and Redstone Arsenal. We have the right people at the right place at the right time. Mr. President, on behalf of the people of the 5th Congressional District and all of Alabama, thank you for keeping your word.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Anybody?
Let me just say, Mr. President, I want to say thank you. And thank you for doing this because it was the right thing to do. When they looked at all the numbers, Huntsville was the place to go, and like you say, it was unfortunately pulled out, but you made it right. So I want to just say thank you again for a grateful nation, and to the state of Alabama, we're very grateful. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Mike,
please, go ahead.
Mike.
Thank you, Mr. President. Throughout history, militaries has always understood that whoever could hold the high ground held the advantage. Space is the ultimate high ground. And what we're doing with moving the Space Command to Huntsville is absolutely critical to our maintaining dominance in that sphere. And it goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with the Golden Dome and missile defense to defend against anyone else who tries to enter that sphere. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. And obviously, national defense is a huge issue. And when you look at the scores, Alabama was #1. And for political reasons, it was moved out of our state. But, Mr. President, thank you for making priorities the defense and the warfighter and the safety of this nation. And in the big, beautiful bill, that Golden Dome will be built in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Listen, as chairman of the Armed Services Committee, I care very much about what's most important for our national security. And the president held a nationwide competition to determine where we should have this command. If you all remember, at the end of that competition, where Alabama came in first, there was a lot of complaints from the other states who did not place well. He said, we'll do it over with new criteria to accommodate your concerns. Alabama came in